Win. Fans made it clear they want Kobe Bryant in the NBA All-Star Game. Bryant received a league-high 1.9 million votes. He'll be a starter in his 18th and final Stars game. ESPN NBA analyst Kevin Pelton on how many minutes he expects Kobe to play.
Probably see him at the start of each half for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then maybe if it's close down the stretch, he comes in and tries to finish off one last All-Star game for him.
The game is on February 14th in Toronto. In the NHL, the Blackhawks' 12-game winning streak is over.
Top of the right circle, Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov shoots, score! Top shelf!
On WFLA, the Lightning won their 7th in a row, defeating Chicago 2-1. Australian Open defending and 6-time champion Serena Williams is into the 4th round along with Roger Federer, who became the first player to reach 300 Grand Slam victories. And Maria Sharapova is also into the 4th. Bill Johnson, who won the downhill at the 1984 Winter Games in Sarajevo, has died. He was 55. He was the first American male to win Olympic gold in alpine skiing. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
For iFIBER ONE Newsradio, I'm Jeff Slakey, and it's Daybreak here at 6:10 on AM 1030 and FM 103.3. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
We'll check the weather in just a second, but some sports notes for you. Last night at the Mini Dome, it was senior night, and the High Climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-3. The win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out the website later today as Sports Director Sean Wells will have full video highlights of the match, including interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Shelton head coach Chris Lacey. Sean will be at the Mini Dome again tonight for high school basketball. Tell you about that in just a moment. On a game heard on the radio last night, Evan Fitzner scored 20. And St. Mary's survived a late mental error to beat Gonzaga 70-67. And this knocks Gonzaga out of first place in the West Coast Conference. Our next Gonzaga basketball game is tomorrow, pregame at 12:40. Seattle Sounders, like we mentioned yesterday, have signed homegrown star Jordan Morris, convincing the top college player last season to start his professional career in the U.S. rather than traveling abroad. The Sounders announced the long-awaited signing of Morris on social media Thursday ahead of an introduction at a special event. Always kind of seemed like he was destined to be here. He did play for the Sounders Academy. His dad is the doctor for the team. Not that that really has anything to do with it, but, you know, whatever.
No poll.
I don't even know if there's any poll there, really. Hey, this kid's pretty good. His last name is very similar to yours.
Yeah.
Morris was the Herman Trophy winner as the top college player in the country after helping lead Stanford to its first national title. Morris skipped senior year. He'll be playing at the pitch. Tonight on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, as I mentioned, a high-def high school basketball broadcast with the Shelton boys basketball team taking on Central Kitsap from the Mini Dome, and a halftime performance by the dance team. Tomorrow, Gonzaga basketball against Pacific, pregame at 12:40. Sunday, the NFL Championship Series gets underway. First game, Denver and New England, then Arizona at Carolina, and that coverage starts at 11. Now here's Carol with the weather.
Good morning. It's 50 out. It's a steady rain early today, turning into showers later with thunder. Possible high today is 51. Tonight, cloudy with showers overnight. Saturday, rain showers early. Sunday, partly cloudy skies in the morning, and then just sort of cloudy in the afternoon. Daytime temps over the weekend are going to stay in the high 40s, and right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Checking a look at some of the local tabs here. Mason County United Way sets its fundraising lunch. The 8th annual Valentine's Dessert and Gift Auction will be coming our way February 12th. Marilyn Foster has the news on that at 6:30, and it runs from 11:30 to 1 at the Civic Center. Coming up on the show today, we have Jeannie Raywalt at 7:45, Dr. Alex Apostle at 8:15. Fishing and hunting reports with Steve Kramer, and Chuck Devine has a ski report. Some other stories under the regional tab from the overnight.
A woman was shot in a Washington State movie theater and a man was arrested. Police say they've arrested a man accused of shooting a woman in a Renton movie theater. Police responded to the shooting call shortly after 8 p.m. Thursday after the man called to surrender. So the investigators believe the man and the woman do not know each other. Police say the man left the theater after the shooting, returned to his home and called 911 and said he dropped his gun and the shooting was accidental. Well, there will be more details later, but the woman's condition was upgraded from critical to stable.
Disabled UW alumni is filing a lawsuit over arena accessibility. University of Washington alumni says part of the school's arena and the university's ticket pricing violate the American with Disabilities Act. The Como TV is reporting that Conrad Reynoldson sued UW in federal court, saying he wasn't able to attend any basketball games in the student section of the Alaska Airlines Arena because it lacked wheelchair accessible seating. He has muscular dystrophy and relies on a power chair to get around. 6:16 here at iFIBER ONE, and the weather has been hitting us pretty hard over here and even up north a little bit more, impacting Amtrak.
Yeah, the mudslide halted passenger service between Seattle and Everett. It hit about 9 miles north of downtown Seattle yesterday morning. So that was opened up later, but then also you probably heard on the news that we were talking about yesterday, the passes were closed a couple of times and for avalanche danger. So they say the rain and snowfall is likely to taper off this afternoon. So we'll see what goes with that.
Westwood One has an NFL Now segment for us, previewing this weekend's championship series that we'll have on the radio. Also coming up next, another story in the regional tab says that ferry use is up in the state, but there's a new way of traveling.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Panthers defensive end Jared Allen was limited in practice Thursday, dealing with a broken bone in his right foot. Allen's status for Sunday will come down to a matter of pain tolerance. Jonathan Stewart also back to practice Thursday after rolling his ankle against the Seahawks. Stewart is expected to play and could get a full workload against the Cardinals Sunday. Broncos cornerback Chris Harris is dealing with a severe bone bruise in his shoulder and will be a game-time decision for Sunday's AFC Championship game. Harris himself says as long as there are no setbacks between now and Sunday, he'll be good to go. Browns management told reporters Thursday that Johnny Manziel was fined for missing medical treatment on the final Sunday of the season. New head coach Hugh Jackson says the team plans to sit down with Manziel before determining the signal caller's future. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio, KMAS.
All right, good morning to you. It is a Friday here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Jeff and Carol hanging out with you here at 6:19. Marilyn Foster has the latest in local news here in just a few moments.
Jeff?
Yes, Carol.
We were talking Wednesday to Brad Pedersen with Transit Talk.
Transit Talk every Wednesday.
Right, get on the bus, go. I mean, buses have been around forever, right?
I love them.
All right, so then sort of one day somebody decided to create what the monorail. Not sure when that came in Seattle, but it seems like it was the World Fair. That's when the monorail started. So it was
cool
futuristic
stuff. Very
and
futuristic.
a little different. And have you ridden on the monorail?
I've ridden on the monorail. Probably can count the number of times on my hand that I've ridden the monorail. And it goes where? From the Seattle Center
to downtown.
Right. And then just back.
Yeah.
Is it Westlake is where they go to Westlake or no?
They might. Since I've ridden it, it's gotten, I think, expanded, but I actually have not ridden it that much. But it's a fun thing to do, right? It seems fun.
Oh, yeah, so fun.
But it doesn't seem like your regular mode of transportation.
You're trudging through the daily grind of Seattle traffic.
Right.
You're high above the masses looking down.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that Simpsons episode where the huckster, it was kind of like a takeoff of the Music Man, where this huckster comes into town selling the Simpsons on the monorail, and Homer, who already has a job, becomes the main monorail director. And Leonard Nimoy's in it. Anyways, they have a great song about the monorail, and I think it was loosely based on the Seattle monorail.
Interesting.
Very funny. The Simpsons. They've done everything.
That's true. So right now we have buses, obviously, for ground transportation. We're not really going to talk about airplanes right now. Buses, and then some places have the subways, and then some places have the monorails.
Rickshaws. Some places have rickshaws.
That is true. But what about Hyperloop?
Now, I've started to hear a little bit more about this Hyperloop thing. And who is it? Which of the big wigs is the Hyperloop?
Well, it's originally conceived by Tesla and the SpaceX boss Elon Musk.
Oh, Musk.
So he likes to he sees in the future, obviously, and he's got a lot of money, I guess, to see in the future. But he has this idea, and to me, it sort of seems like the construction, the infrastructure to get this thing going would be like building a huge monorail across states or what have you. That would be like the structure this tube type car would sit on. It would just be all these tubes on top of these structures, like instead of a monorail, it would just be tubes. Then you would get inside these tubes and you would be shot off 700 miles per hour to your destination.
So it's kind of like when you go to the bank and the drive-through. So I would be the check that I want to deposit, and I would sit in the little thing.
Yes.
Right in there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's on a closed loop system where you're not going to fly off, then that's not that bad of a deal. 700 miles an hour?
700 miles an hour.
Why not?
This is what they have right now. So they're going to do it. They're going to, by the end of the year, Elon Musk and the other people that are starting to get together to back this, think they're going to have a test strip in Nevada, and they're going to have that by the end of the year, and they're going to be working on it.
Interesting.
Yeah. 37 million right now they've secured in funding, which does not seem like enough to me.
Well, if it's just a bunch of tubes and a plastic thing like at the bank, I can't imagine that costs too much.
That's true. But then, so how do you get the seats safe? How do you start it up and get going? I mean, they haven't, it's really ambitious.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, but the guy that's saying it has said, hey, we haven't had a new mode of transportation for decades.
Why have it's taken so long? I thought I read that in Maryland, they have finally put into their state budget a bunch of money for mag trains. Like the mag trains, the magnetic trains in Japan that go...
Like the bullet trains?
Yeah, that go 250, 300 miles an hour. What has taken us so long?
I think that they think that it's unsafe or not enough.
No,
we don't have enough safety. I don't know. So it's
everybody's driving those. If everybody's riding these magnetic trains that don't have gas, what the oil market's going to go tank even more. That's the problem. We have weird regulations here, and I think it's based on who has more money to lobby the government. That's exactly how all the rules here in the state and the country get done. All right. Well, hey, that's a good one. Hyperloop. I'm excited. Whatever makes my commute
First
faster.
one that gets in it, Jeff Slakey.
Sign me up. Monorail.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
6:25 here at iFIBER ONE. Good morning to you, Daybreak.
Good morning.
Carol giving me a great idea. This Hyperloop thing. So if you go 700 miles an hour, then I could go and do a live report from where this next story comes from, and I would love to. Talking Loch Ness Monster.
Are we still on that? They haven't found it?
It's a real thing.
I think he's eating lunch with Bigfoot.
So here's the story. Some guy is out there sonaring in the Loch. That's how they say it. Loch.
If you're Scottish.
A little bit Scottish, so I can say it. Loch
Right.
Ness. This guy is doing sonar images at the bottom of the Loch Ness, at the loch. And he says he's floating around there and he's doing these side scan sonars. And on the bottom, he sees what he thinks is an undiscovered trench. And in this trench, there was a little bit of a bump. There was a bump in the trench. Now, when he came back and redid the scanning, the bump was gone. I think that's pretty definitive proof.
Yeah, but maybe something's wrong with the scanning equipment.
No, there's never anything wrong with scanning equipment when you're at the loch. The official depth of the loch is 750 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Although some say it's 813. This guy's ship recorded a depth of 889 feet, which is deeper than anybody ever thought the loch was. And so it just so happens to have enough width and breadth, depth and breadth and length, that it would perfectly fit.
So it just sits down there in its little trench.
Well, you know, it's dark and it's probably nice and cold, and Nessie's got to be getting up there. Doesn't want to move around as much as he used to.
Maybe there's a cave entrance at one end of the trench.
And that's how it gets to the sea and eats.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be.
Well, to me, it's sort of interesting when somebody already says, well, we've done this and this is all there is to it. And then next week or whatever, somebody else comes along with better technology and says, no, you missed it. And there's this here. Like the ocean, you said the deepest you can get to the ocean was what's his face? The guy who did the Titanic was down there.
Yeah, Bob Ballard
and I'm thinking,
those guys.
Was that the deepest portion? Do we really know that?
Well, I think even James Cameron went even deeper when he went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench in the Pacific.
Right, but then
I think that's
maybe
the
that's the deepest.
That's the deepest
and then
we
next
know
week
of.
somebody will, we know it must be the phrase that we need to put on the end of our findings.
Now, there are people that say don't jump to all these conclusions. Don't start booking your flight to Scotland now to go see Loch Ness, to dive down 800 feet and see this thing.
Yeah.
But there is a deeper trench that was previously unearthed. I mean, one of these days, we'll have the technology to map the bottom of this in a way that you can understand it. I still don't know what I'm looking at when I see these radar side scans.
Well, I mean, it looks like, I mean, you look at it and then you think you're seeing all there is there. But then when you get more sophisticated equipment, you realize there's just so much more. It's not just weird. It's like looking at Mars on the moon, or Mars on the moon. It's like looking at Mars. The more we get better at using equipment to see it, we realize there's a lot more distinctive shapes up there.
This now needs real research. The president of the Loch Ness Monster Fan Club says, let's get a submarine down here. If they can get to the bottom of the trench, or if they can get to the Titanic, they sure as heck fire can get 900 feet down to the bottom of this thing.
Are you a member of the club? You should be. You should sign up for it.
I'm a member in good standing.
You could get first breaking news when they find it.
Laminated Nessie card. We're coming for you, Nessie.
They'll be like, who wants to dive in first?
Do you think there is a Nessie? Yes or no? Quick.
Yes.
Me too.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A town hall meeting this week packed the conference room at the Mason County Public Works Building, where veterans and homeless advocates discussed housing issues for veterans. With some veterans struggling to live in the county, the Thurston County-based Homes First organization is joining with Mason County to buy housing for homeless veterans. Homes First has 11 homes for adults with development disabilities in Thurston County, 5 Oxford houses, which are democratically run drug-free homes, and a home that houses 5 veterans who were homeless. Homes First wants to bring such veterans housing to Mason County. Bud Blake, Thurston County Commissioner and chairman of that county's housing action team, said Mason and Thurston County will work together to try to solve Mason County's affordable housing problem, and invited the community to join in the effort to solve the housing issue. Central Mason Fire and EMS and Shelton Fire Marshal Mike Patty stopped by Daybreak and gave some statistics about the kind of calls they take.
We run about 85%, 87% medical with our fire district, as does most fire departments in the United States anymore. We've become, the guys don't like to hear it, but we've become more of an emergency medical agency that does an occasional fire.
Yeah.
But that's why we were so lucky to have the citizens allow us to renew our EMS levy last fall, and we've been able to put one new ambulance, rebuilt ambulance, on the road, and we'll be taking delivery of our second one in the next couple of weeks. So that'll give us those vehicles. We put the last one in service first part of October, and our maintenance staff just did their 10,000 mile checkup on it. So we put a lot of miles on those rigs really quick.
During the primary election back in August, the Central Mason Fire and EMS Emergency Medical Services regular property tax levy, a proposition to replace its expiring emergency medical services property, passed with over 70% of residents voting yes. Racer clam diggers are back in action at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are in evening tides. There's a one-day dig at Copalis Beach today. The digs at Long Beach run through next Wednesday. The department is limiting razor clam digging at Copalis to help ensure the beach will have openings throughout the spring. The 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit your United Way of Mason County is set for February 12th at the Shelton Civic Center. Tickets can be purchased online at unitedwaymasonco.org or by calling 360-426-4999 or stop by the United Way office at 724 West Railroad Avenue. The major fundraiser for United Way of Mason County helps meet the most critical needs in the county, from youth to seniors, domestic violence to hunger, hospice care to daycare. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Snow melts. Rain falls. Rivers form. This happens all over the world. But when it happens here, something wonderful unfolds. A renewable source of energy, created without releasing even an ounce of CO2 into the Earth's atmosphere.
Mason PUD 3. Clean, renewable, and reliable energy every day.
The Dave Ramsey Show, where common sense meets dollars and cents.
Patrick in Texas says, my wife thinks we should have an emergency credit card. How can I explain to her that this is a terrible idea? Well, the last time on earth that you need to go into debt at 18% interest would be at a time when your family has an emergency. What you need is money. If you had $20,000 set aside for an emergency fund, you wouldn't need an emergency credit card, right?
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, it's Daybreak at AM 1030 and FM 1033, 635. I'm Jeff Slakey, and Carol Gardner will update us on a weekend weather forecast. Currently, it's raining out there.
It is. It's warm, though. 50.
It's nice in here. 50 outside, okay. Senior night at the Mini Dome, the high climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-70. The win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out the website later today, as sports director Sean Wells will have a full video highlights of the match and interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Shelton head coach Chris Lacey. On a game heard on iFIBER ONE News Radio last night, Evan Fitzner scored 20 points, and St. Mary's survived a late mental error, beating Gonzaga 70-67 for sole possession of first place in the West Coast Conference. Our next Gonzaga basketball game is tomorrow, pregame at 12:40. The Sounders have signed homegrown star Jordan Morris, convincing the top college player last season to start his professional career in the U.S. rather than overseas. The Sounders announced at a big media event yesterday. Pretty cool stuff. He skipped his senior year with the Stanford Cardinal for a chance to turn pro. Tonight on iFIBER ONE News Radio, High Def High School, newsradio.com on the website, a High Def High School basketball video cast of Shelton boys basketball taking on Central Kitsap from the Mini Dome, and a halftime performance by the dance team. So log on to iFIBER1newsradio.com around 7, and Sean Wells and Terry Allen will have the calls for you. Tomorrow, Gonzaga basketball against Pacific, pregame at 12:40. And Sunday, the NFL Championship Series. First game is Denver and New England, then Arizona at Carolina. Pregame there gets underway at 11, and the second game will follow directly. Now, here's Carol with the weather.
Good morning. It's 50. Steady rain early today, turning into showers later. Tonight, possible thunder. The high today will be 51. Tonight, cloudy with showers overnight, and Saturday rain, showers early. Sunday, partly cloudy skies in the morning. Daytime temps are going to stay in the high 40s, and right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
6:37 here at iFIBER ONE, and good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, and hi, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff. TGIF.
Oh, yeah. We got some great guests on the radio today, including Master Gardener Jeannie Raywald in to talk about tomorrow's Memorial Hall workshop for the Master Gardeners. All-season gardening in Mason County is the topic.
Yes. All-season gardening.
Pretty interesting to learn about how to all-season garden with all this rain we got happening outside.
So did you get your compost pile started?
No, I haven't had time to do anything. No, I haven't, although it is on the list. And I suppose the sooner I start, the sooner I'll have some of that compost to get ready for the season.
The sooner you start, the sooner you'll have the compost. That's true.
You know, before too long, it'll be Mother's Day, and we'll have the first WSU Master Gardener, the plant sale, which is also popular.
Right. You probably won't get your compost. Well, it's not impossible, but you probably won't get your compost ready for the plant sale.
Well, especially my first time out. Who knows what I'm doing? All right. So coming up today, I mentioned Jeannie Raywald, 7:45. Dr. Alex Apostle at 8:15. In a few moments, we'll live the country life and then hop into a fishing and hunting report with Steve Kramer. Chuck Devine has a ski report. And what else is going on today? I think that's about it. We have got some great new headlines on iFIBER1newsradio.com, and also coming up this hour, we're looking at some other stories throughout the day today. A judge, we talked with Drew McEwen earlier in the week, and one of the things that he was thinking that we would see a decision from a judge about Initiative 1366. That's that you do a 2/3 majority, or you take off a percent of the sales tax. Well, some news has broke on that, and we'll discuss it early next hour. But some of the stories on the regional tab, as Carol and I have been talking about this morning, police say they have arrested a man accused of shooting a woman in a Washington State movie theater. The shooter later called authorities to surrender. This happened while some folks were watching 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, and investigators say a man appearing to be intoxicated fumbled with a gun and shot the woman during the movie. No connection. Investigators don't think there's a connection, and the guy left the theater, went home, called 911 saying, "Oh, I dropped my gun." The shooting was accidental. That story under the regional tab. Also some health stories for us.
True. The second flu-related death was reported in Kitsap County, and county health officials are urging flu shots and other prevention strategies after a child died of complications from the flu. Another adult had died earlier in November. So Kitsap Public Health says it's learned that the child died from complications from influenza. There's really no more details, but they say the flu can be very serious for children and even otherwise healthy children. So they urge everyone 6 months of age and older get a seasonal flu vaccination.
I thought I read somewhere that the big pharmaceuticals were actually going to get together and talk about a way to combat these superbugs that are starting to form, where there's very limited treatment availabilities. These bugs. That's kind of the thing that people talk about when you use all that Antibac hand lotion. You put that Antibac on and it kills all the bacteria, but that also kills the good stuff too.
Exactly.
And so then you just get some bug that is mutated in a way that it won't be affected by these things.
Well, they think a lot of our issues, not like necessarily the influenza, but we're too sterile. We've become too sterile. The U.S. has. We don't eat enough dirt and play in the dirt enough and all that kind of stuff. They say people who actually wash their dishes are healthier than people that use dishwashers because you don't always clean it perfectly when you wash your dishes. I read that somewhere. Yeah.
That is an interesting one.
That was an interesting thing that I heard, and I thought, well, I must be really healthy.
Maybe I'll bring everybody some
of your dirty dishes.
Some dirt mud pies on.
Did you ever make mud pies?
Not to eat. My mud pies.
I never made them to eat.
I
made them, but I didn't eat them.
Were from Oreo crumble and gummy worms.
You made edible. You didn't make them when you were a child. You never made mud pies.
I can't imagine I did. I can't think that.
Did you ever get in the dirt when you were a child?
No. Kidding me? Although I do remember one time I ran away from home. And
you ran away from home.
Well, I mean, I didn't really run away in the sense that I was gone for umpteen hours, but I went outside and I was like, oh man, I'm on my own. This is rough. And I had a toothbrush. I do remember this. There was a puddle that always collected in my neighborhood in Brentwood. And I went and I remember this and I brushed my teeth once with that water in the puddle. Very gross.
You were outdoor living it.
I was rough. But then I went back into the house and then I pretended that I was someone else when I came in and helped my parents do things. That's probably there was not a lot of mud play in my childhood. So dirty.
Dirty.
All right, we talked about the Hyperloop earlier today and Elon Musk doing some great things, and we prefaced it by saying ferry ridership continues to grow in the state, and this is pretty kind of cool. It's growing after being pummeled for a couple years. Kitsap Sun reports that the state ferries recorded its third straight annual increase in ridership in 2015, with ridership increasing 2.9% to just under 24 million people. Ridership reached an all-time high of 26.8 million, so still a ways to go, but this was way back in 1999 when the state raised fares and cut services after taking the motor vehicle excise tax away as a revenue source. Oh, I remember that one. That was like Simon's first initiative ever. His latest initiative is in the news, and we'll have that for you just after 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
It is possible to trick Mother Nature in the winter. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Bring springtime and lots of color into your home by forcing flowering tree and shrub branches into bloom as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
Commodity Classic is all about what's new. New ideas, new innovation, new equipment, new technology, new friends. And this year it all happens in New Orleans, March 3rd through the 5th. Commodity Classic is where the best soybean, corn, wheat, and sorghum farmers come to get even better. And here's something else that's new. The Association of Equipment Manufacturers joins Commodity Classic in 2016. There's plenty to get jazzed about as Commodity Classic heads to New Orleans, March 3rd through 5th. Discover more at commodityclassic.com.
Read Living the Country Life magazine on your computer and mobile devices. Each issue features great stories, how-to help, reader tips, and recipes, as well as beautiful photos to spark new ideas for your place in the country. All the stories and features you love about Living the Country Life magazine are right at your fingertips, anywhere, any way you want them. Visit nextissue.com or zenio.com to subscribe. There's no limit to how many times you can enjoy your digital editions of Living the Country Life.
In most areas of the country, this is the dead of winter. It's cold and bleak, and spring seems so far away. If you have early spring flowering trees or shrubs, you can remove a few of the branches and force them to bloom inside. Forsythia, flowering dogwood, magnolia, and even fruit trees are just a few species that could brighten up your home with color. Rosie Lerner is an extension horticulturist at Purdue University. She says after a period of at least 8 weeks of temperatures below 40 degrees, branches can be cut and forced into bloom. The later in the winter you cut them, the shorter the forcing time becomes. Look for branches that are starting to plump up with buds, but don't go crazy with the shears.
You want to, of course, think about the fact that you're cutting the branches off of landscape plants that you want to look good. You don't want to just, ravage it by, removing lots and lots of twigs and then have an awful looking shrub out there.
Cut each branch just above a vegetative bud, meaning one that's going to become a shoot with leaves on it. After you bring them indoors, make a second cut on a slant just above the previous cut and stick them in a vase of water. Adding a floral preservative isn't necessary, but it won't hurt either.
Depending on what species it is, it may be 2 weeks between cutting and blooming. It could be 4 weeks. It really depends on which species you're talking about and how close you were to the plant's natural bloom time. The closer you are to its normal bloom time, the faster this forcing will go.
Lerner recommends keeping your branches away from strong sunlight and in room temperatures from the mid-60s to low 70s. Find more tips for forcing branches for winter color at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. With all the rain and flooding we're having right now, river fishing is pretty much out of the picture. So it looks like for this upcoming week, your best bet's going to be probably going clam digging. There are evening digs scheduled from the 21st through the 27th at Long Beach. If you go, I would bring a surf rod and see if you could catch some of those yummy surf perch. I like to throw a clam neck or a sand shrimp for bait personally. Just be very careful of the surf. Another fun option for the weekend would be go spend some time duck hunting. If it stays stormy like this, I expect shooting to be good. I would concentrate my efforts on Willapa Bay, Grays Harbor, or up the Chehalis River Valley, all of which could be good. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at kmas.com. And don't forget my site, KramerTackleandGuide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
Time now for your KMAS ski report, and there's more fresh snow taking us into the weekend. Should be a great weekend to hit the slopes at Summit at Snoqualmie Alpental. They have powder skiing on 20 trails. They're skiing and riding till 10 at night. Summit West and Summit Central 100% with an 8-foot snowpack. Summit East returns Saturday. Crystal Mountain with another 10 inches of fresh snow, a wet pack snow surface. Mission Ridge got 10 inches. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails, lots of groom runs, plenty of powder stashes too. A snowshoe trek for Mission Ridge Saturday night, and there's live music Saturday night at Mission Ridge. Stevens Pass went into the weekend with a foot of fresh snow. Milder temperatures are moving in for the weekend. Mount Baker was back Friday, and they had fresh, untouched snow. Mount Bachelor and Mount Hood Meadows are both 100% in Oregon. Schweitzer, Idaho picked up 4 inches fresh. They have wet pack snow on 92 trails. Sun Valley, Idaho, 113 pack powder slopes. I'm Chuck Devine for KMAS News Radio, AM 1030, FM 103.3.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
6:51 here at iFIBER ONE. It's Daybreak. Jeff and Carol. Hi, Carol.
Morning, Jeff.
So that was some good information there. Steve Kramer, Chuck Devine, make me want to get out. Not make mud pies or anything, but get out and enjoy nature a little bit. It is the weekend, and there's a lot of things going on. We're checking some of the things that are happening on our community calendar, which you can access by going to iFiber1newsradio.com. One of the big things that's happening tomorrow, there's a South Sound wedding show.
Did you get dragged around to the shows before
Did
you
you ever go to a wedding show? And dragged around would be a bit strong, because I do enjoy going to these
That's
things.
true. You probably do. You probably dragged Stephanie.
I like walking around and seeing, what people have to offer. People are so smart. They come up with so many great ideas, and wedding dresses are beautiful. So 9 to 3 tomorrow at Marcus Pavilion. But if you don't want to look all pretty.
Well, you can look pretty.
I don't know. But people wear heels and stuff.
Yeah, you probably don't want to wear heels.
When you get married and things like this.
Well, I was barefoot.
You were?
Yeah, it's awesome. All right.
Barefoot on the beaches too, maybe.
Well, right. Well, you could be. Some people probably are, but right now it's a little cold to be barefoot on the beach. But we do have the Razor Clam Digs. They started yesterday. They're at Long Beach and Capellas, and we have all the schedules on our recreation page under the news link on iFiber1newsradio.com. And they're all evening digs. 6:45 p.m., 7:31 p.m. So you can check that out. Get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Smelly. Fish smell.
I don't know about that.
Then use lemon to rub it off.
Is that what helps? Is it lemon is the fix?
You can use lemon.
What, you eat these things? Oysters and mussels and clams and all this stuff?
Razor clams. Well, yeah. I don't do oysters. I'm not really an oyster fan at all. Never have been.
The Olympia oyster has a distinct penny taste. Tastes like a penny copper.
Yeah, and they're smaller.
Yeah.
So people love them.
So good.
Yeah.
I was so shocked that one time I was in San Francisco, we went on the pier or the wharf, whatever they call it. We went, had just a little lunch, and we're looking over the menu, and they have on this half shell or whatever. And I looked down, and dang old Hema oysters was there. I was so impressed. I mean, that's big time.
Yeah, it is big time.
We do have the best in the business right here.
We do.
There's a lot of other places on the East Coast that they do, and I would still, even without the BP thing, the oil spill, it just seems like the water is so much warmer down there. It just kind of makes me a little more nervous. Not that I wouldn't eat crawfish and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes, from the guy who won't make mud pies and get his fingers dirty. I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
Not
6:53
really.
here at iFiber ONE News Radio. Well, I just don't like to make mud pies. What's the problem with that?
I didn't see. You're being defensive. You obviously think there's a problem. All right. So how about all-season gardening?
Yes.
All right. So we went 2 weeks ago, or was it just last week? Gosh, time is flying.
It was the 9th.
The 9th. We went to Healthy Soil Through Composting workshop put on by the Mason County Master Gardeners. Tomorrow, all-season gardening. You can learn techniques, extend your gardening season, start sooner and finish later. And what works in our climate, because we actually, all of Washington, but we have like little microclimates. Like your backyard is different than my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So you sort of have to experiment where you're at. So you take all what they tell you with sort of a grain of salt. And
we were really surprised that our pomegranate tree and our, I don't know what kind of olive tree it is, but it's not a traditional one. It's kind of, they're like candy olives. Anyways, they both seem to so far have made it through the winter in our front yard. And then our lime tree in the back still looks good. And I was walking on my walk the other day. I was looking at the neighborhood, keeping tabs on everybody. I am on the board, so I got to keep tabs on everybody. See how far back their garbage cans are behind the stuff. And I saw blooms. I saw little buds on some trees.
They are already starting to bud.
We can ask Jeannie, but should we be cutting that stuff?
Cutting.
Like trimming it off. So what if we have a deep freeze?
No.
Just let it go, huh?
Yeah, it knows what it's doing.
Wow.
It is getting sort of fooled by the weird weather, but it'll survive somehow.
Interesting. We have got in just a couple of moments a CNBC Business Radio report for you. We'll check out Wall Street as gas prices continue to go down. I saw them about $1.99 at some places in betwixt here in my home. Other portions of Mason County have seen it as low as $1.79.
It's been nice. Go fill up now.
Very nice. Don't fill up now because tomorrow it'll probably be even cheaper.
Well, that could be true, but don't wait.
I don't know. I didn't see. I was at Costco yesterday. I didn't see what the price was there, but there is some low gas prices around these days. Dale and I last month were talking about how the price of oil has just plummeted. It's now. I saw this on Facebook. Actually, I saw this on Steve Kramer's Facebook page yesterday from our fishing report we just had, that a barrel of oil, and it may have rebounded, may be different now, check the market, but a barrel of oil is cheaper than a bucket of chicken at a at a fast food chicken shack. So a barrel of oil
is cheaper than a bucket.
Like a 20-piece bucket of chicken.
Huh.
Isn't that amazing?
That is very amazing. That is highly interesting.
Coming up today, I'm going to say a movie clip for you, see if you can figure out which one this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If you're out there listening, hopefully you know. I don't know.
Well, that was President Scroob's password to his luggage on Spaceballs. And it is one of the most used and most overused passwords out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it also lowered the defense shields for the planet that they used, the Mega Maid, to suck all the air out of. So we'll talk about passwords because they're huge.
They are huge.
And there are different ways. You got your phones these days, get your thumbprints, this and that. Somebody told me that the newest iPhone, security-wise, may have a retina scanner. And second only to your fingerprint is unique, right? So your fingerprints are super unique. And your retina is second most unique to avoid.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. The market's open higher on a rally in oil prices. Crude is up as many parts of the nation finally start having to boost the heat in their homes. Also helping stocks, some comments made by European Central Bank President Mario Draghi. He says the ECB has plenty of tools at its disposal to boost its economy and has the willingness and determination to act. The Dow's up 204 points, the Nasdaq higher by 76. In just a few moments,
Moments from now, we'll get a reading on existing home sales. They're expected to show they rose nearly 9% in December. That's compared with a 10.5% fall in November. Shares of American Express and Starbucks both down after posting disappointing earnings forecasts, and General Electric is also down. Although the company beat on profit, revenue was a miss. Once again, stocks are higher. The Dow's up 205 points. Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quotes subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay applies to Tier 1 generics.
It's fun to splurge on nice things, but it's better to get those same nice things at a great value. Like a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle, the best certified pre-owned value in America, and backed by a limited warranty. Let Honda certified pre-owned take you farther. Visit HondaCertified.com and search for local inventory. Honda, start something special.
Based on 2015 Vincentric Best CPO Value in America Awards analysis, applicable to 2011 to 2015 Honda model years. See dealer for limited warranty details.
Mornings start with Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Join Jeff and Carol weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. The nation's capital is under a blizzard lockdown. D.C. has already shut down schools, government offices, and mass transit ahead of the 2 feet of snow that could hit the city. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is there.
Blizzard warnings issued for our nation's capital. A possible 2 feet of snow expected, not just for Washington, D.C., but surrounding areas. National Weather Service Director Louis Uccellini says the Deep South is already getting hit.
It's not only the snow that we are forecasting with this storm that we need to pay attention to, but the potential for a severe weather outbreak from East Texas to the western part of Florida.
Uccellini adds, if you're driving on I-95 up and down the East Coast over the weekend, you're putting your life at risk. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
A storm of controversy is brewing between Governor Chris Christie and New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, who says Christie should return to New Jersey from New Hampshire. Christie says he's not driving a plow and his team is well prepared.
I gave everybody their assignments. I'll be back on the phone with them again at 10 o'clock tonight. If they know if they need me before that, they just call me and get me. But I think, we've got through this rodeo a bunch of times before. We know how to do it.
It's also the perfect dating storm. Dating apps say the time between Christmas and Valentine's Day is the busiest of the year. Match.com typically sees an up to 30% surge in membership. North Korean officials have arrested an American college student for alleged hostile activities. The detention comes as the U.S. and its allies push for sanctions against the North for nuclear testing. Bernie Sanders is feeling the burn of more confidence after new polls show he's leading Hillary Clinton in Iowa and New Hampshire.
We do well in both of those states. I think, my friends, we are looking at one of the great political upsets in the modern history of the United States of America.
Clinton's camp says polls can be wrong. Mulder and Scully are back for a limited run of The X-Files. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson still believe the truth is out there. Both will reprise their roles. This is ABC News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
ABC Radio presents Made in America with David Muir. Brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
It's the blue and yellow can, a household staple made right here in America. WD-40. Everybody has a can in their house. Orlando Moreno at WD-40 headquarters in San Diego. The secret formula, nearly the same since it was invented more than 60 years ago.
It's a special phase.
CEO Gary Ridge, business doubling in the last 10 years. Now sold around the country and around the world in 176 countries. This is World News Tonight's David Muir. That's Made in America.
Russia is slamming a report out of Britain that concluded Russian President Vladimir Putin played a role in the poisoning of a former spy. More from ABC's Tom Rivers.
A Putin spokesman calls it a quasi-investigation that will further poison bilateral relations.
One of the men identified as the prime suspect, Andrei Lugavoy, through a translator.
What concerns the investigation, as a matter of principle, is there was no public inquiry at all. It is actually just an open lie.
A politically motivated throwback, he says, to the Cold War days.
All their conclusions, let me stress this one more time, are linked exclusively to their political goals.
For its part, Britain demands that Russia turn over the two prime suspects, something that won't be happening. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
Generating the most interest at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland? Kevin Spacey. His forum on the theatricality of American politics is a very hot ticket. Spacey says his character, Frank Underwood, would find the U.S. presidential race amusing. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A town hall meeting this week packed the conference room at the Mason County Public Works Building, where veterans and homeless advocates discussed housing issues for veterans. With some veterans struggling to live in the county, the Thurston County-based Homes First organization is joining with Mason County to buy housing for homeless veterans. Homes First has 11 homes for adults with development disabilities in Thurston County, 5 Oxford houses, which are democratically run drug-free homes, and a home that houses 5 veterans who were homeless. Homes First wants to bring such veterans housing to Mason County. Bud Blake, Thurston County Commissioner and chairman of that county's housing action team, said Mason and Thurston County will work together to try to solve Mason County's affordable housing problem, and invited the community to join in the effort to solve the housing issue. Central Mason Fire and EMS and Shelton Fire Marshal Mike Patty stopped by Daybreak and gave some statistics about the kind of calls they take.
We run about 85%, 87% medical with our fire district, as does most fire departments in the United States anymore. We've become, the guys don't like to hear it, but we've become more of an emergency medical agency that does an occasional fire.
Yeah.
But that's why we were so lucky to have the citizens allow us to renew our EMS levy last fall, and we've been able to put one new ambulance, rebuilt ambulance on the road, and we'll be taking delivery of our second one in the next couple of weeks. So that'll give us those vehicles. We put the last one in service first part of October, and our maintenance staff just did their 10,000 mile checkup on it. So we put a lot of miles on those rigs really quick.
During the primary election back in August, the Central Mason Fire and EMS Emergency Medical Services regular property tax levy, a proposition to replace its expiring emergency medical services property, passed with over 70% of residents voting yes. Racer clam diggers are back in action at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are in evening tides. There's a one-day dig at Copalis Beach today. The digs at Long Beach run through next Wednesday. The department is limiting razor clam digging at Copalis to help ensure the beach will have openings throughout the spring. The 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit your United Way of Mason County is set for February 12th at the Shelton Civic Center. Tickets can be purchased online at unitedwaymasonco.org or by calling 360-426-4999 or stop by the United Way office at 724 West Railroad Avenue. The major fundraiser for United Way of Mason County helps meet the most critical needs in the county, from youth to seniors, domestic violence to hunger, hospice care to daycare. For iFIBER ONE Newsradio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Science Fantastic with Professor Michio Kaku. Saturdays at 5, Sundays at 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
We have a universe that's expanding like a balloon. And in every astronomy class, the professor takes out a balloon, gets a felt pen, and puts little spirals on the balloon called galaxies. And there we are sitting in the Milky Way galaxy. And then the astronomy professor begins to blow up the balloon. And sure enough, the distance between the balloons expands. So the universe is expanding.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
For iFIBER One News Radio, it's Daybreak on a Friday morning, 7:08. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
Is that German?
Yes. It's supposed to be German.
That commercial, that Ancestry commercial, is so crazy where the guy grows up his whole life thinking he's German, and then he takes the DNA test on there. It turns out not anywhere at all does he have that kind of ancestry.
So his
parents are lying to him the whole time. Got the lederhosen.
Well, were they lying, or did they think they were German?
Well,
too?
they probably didn't know. But isn't that your whole life you're built up like this is what my deal is? That's why it was very interesting when I did mine. And because I thought I was straight up 50% from the German area.
Turns out you're a mixed match.
So it's a big old mixed match. Senior night at the Mini Dome. High climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-3. I might also say we got a great show about genealogy on the radio Saturday mornings called Extreme Genes. Whoa, the stories they tell on there. Awesome. Anywho, high climbers did not disappoint at the senior night last night in wrestling, 73-3, knocking off Capital. The win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out our website later today. Sean Wells will have full video highlights. He's got match highlights. He's got interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Chris Lacey, the Shelton head coach. Sean is going to be again at the Mini Dome tonight for a high-def high school broadcast of basketball for you right around 7 o'clock. They're going to take on Central Kitsap, and halftime will be the performance by the dance team, and that's going to be on the video cast as well. So if you are a family member of one of the dance team, you'll be able to see it if you're not going to be able to make it to the Mini Dome tonight. Again, iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com, high def, right around 7 o'clock. We had a game, Gonzaga basketball game on the radio last night. And Gonzaga lost, actually, to St. Mary's, 70-67. And that knocked Gonzaga out of its sole possession of first place in the West Coast Conference. Wow. Our next Gonzaga basketball game tomorrow, pregame at 12:40. Also on Sunday, the NFL Championship Series is set and will be played. The first game, Denver, New England, then Arizona, Carolina. Pre-game show for the whole deal gets underway at 11 on Sunday. Now here's Carol with a check of the weather.
Good morning. It's 50. Steady rain early today, turning into showers later with thunder possible. High today is 51. Tomorrow, rain showers early, then cloudy Sunday, partly cloudy early, and then just sort of cloudy. And daytime temps over the weekend are going to stay in the high 40s, and right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, iFIBER 1712 on a Friday. Got some regional stories for you on the website we want to pass along. Jeannie Raywalt will be in about a half an hour to talk about the next Master Gardener workshop at Memorial Hall, all-season gardening in Mason County. And, you know, if you can even get another week on either end of your gardening, it can make a big difference in your collection through the rest of the year. Dr. Alex Apostle, an hour from now, and another story on the regional tab. Here we go. A University of Washington alumni says part of the school's arena and the university's ticket pricing is violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. Como reports that Conrad Reynoldson sued UW in federal court, saying he wasn't able to attend any basketball games at the student section at the Heck Ed there because it didn't have accessible wheelchair seating. Find that story on iFIBER One News Radio, and another opening for sports fans we'll tell you about right after this break on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Want to know how you can get free online access to your personal health and medical records from anywhere in the world 24/7? My Mason Health puts you in control, letting you manage your doctor appointments, review your medical visit summaries, message your providers, access test results, and so much more. Wherever you can get an internet connection, you can access your secure online health record from home, work, or anywhere in the world. Ask how you can get connected with My Mason Health at your next hospital or clinic visit.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider, translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I volunteer with United Way, reading to children to help prepare them for a better academic future. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's a Friday here at 7:15, Daybreak, and Jeannie Raywalt coming in about a half an hour to talk about the WSU Master Gardener class tomorrow at Memorial Hall. We mentioned before the break a new opening, big time for sports fans.
That's right. If you're looking for something to do tonight, you can go on down to the Lucky Eagle Casino's new Craft House Sports Bar. It opened the 20th. And it's going to have your pub food, more than 35 beers on tap with a focus on Northwest brews, a dedicated family area, sports decor, and 20 HD TVs. One for everybody.
You get a TV. You get a TV. That's awesome.
It is awesome.
I've heard great things about this thing.
Yeah. They're also, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, they're also going to have an adjoining entertainment room, which you're going to have live music, acts. And they also said it's going to, be a place for guests to enjoy a meal in a fun, exciting atmosphere, and they're going to feature local products.
Yeah, and I think, did you say that it's got the look of it is kind of
focus on Northwest brews?
I think it was. Didn't we hear that it was it's a real Northwest industrial.
Yeah.
So like a dark woods and metals. But really nice looking.
We're going to have one of our people go down there and check it out. Right now, that news was from our friends at the Business Examiner.
Well, just looking at some of the things they have coming up here, and the Australia Thunder from Down Under coming to town on Friday, April 1st at 8 p.m. Also, you can get involved at the Lunar New Year on the 20th, and the Big Game Bash on Sunday, February 7th.
I'll be somewhere.
You can go drown your sorrows watching those two other teams.
Well, talking to a lot of the other Seahawks fans, it's not as bad because we know we're not there.
Is it going to be worse if Arizona beats Carolina? Or would you rather just see, Carolina?
No, I want Arizona.
You do?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Exciting. All right, big news story. So earlier in the week, we talked with 35th District Representative Drew McEwen. And one of the things, it's so great to talk to these guys, weekly, amazing that we have this access. One of the things that he was talking about is this initiative 1366. Everybody voted on it in November, and the state voted in the majority. So it was to go through, and this was the thing that says, hey, legislature, either you put on a way for us to vote for a constitutional amendment guaranteeing 2/3 majority to raise taxes or whatever, or we're going to withhold a 1% sales tax, which could cost the state billions.
Right.
Well, when we talked to Drew, he mentioned that he felt that this is going to be thrown out by a judge, and even in the committees and around the workings, they're not really taking this seriously, in the sense that they all mostly feel that this will be thrown out. Well, it was, and the governor echoed what Drew was saying. Now the legislature can focus on the matters at hand without overhanging this.
Right.
And so Tim Eyman's not going quietly into the dark with this. He's going to appeal and go to the Supreme Court. And I was just wondering, let me know what you think about this. And it's not just on Tim Eyman, but there are a lot of initiatives that go through the process. They go and they get the signatures, and then they get the signatures validated, and they get it on the thing. And it seems to me, more times than not, these initiatives come back from a judge as unconstitutional.
Well, my question is, why did they even get that far in the first place if they are unconstitutional?
Sure.
And where should it stop? Should it not even go that? Should you not even be able to allow to, even though you get all your signatures, if what you're proposing is unconstitutional,
it's not even going to work.
Then why does it even get to go that far and even get put on the ballot in the first place?
So I'm wondering if, because a lot of these initiatives are not doing their constitutional due diligence, how much it costs the state to go through this process.
Right.
Should the creators of the initiative, if it's deemed, it's like a coach's challenge in football. The coach throws that red flag, and if it's upheld, then, oh, yeah, good job, you didn't get charged a timeout. But you throw the challenge, and they come back and they say, sorry, we are changing the ruling here, and you are charged with a timeout. You know, there's a consequence to doing this. So should these people be sent a bill now? And that's not just Eyman, as I mentioned. A lot of these seem to eventually end up unconstitutional.
Well, and that's sort of like,
it just seems you're pulling the wool over the voters, saying, oh, yeah, no, sign this, vote for this. It's going to be totally legit, and we're good to go. And now everybody gets upset because it's unconstitutional.
Right, but how did it even get that far in the first place? I mean, yeah, maybe the lawmakers should be charged also because they are not paying attention to what's coming through. I mean, where is the disconnect? Don't they know something's unconstitutional? Does everybody have a right to get the voters to vote and then go, oh, well, that's it's sort of a.
I have no idea.
It's a very interesting conversation.
But if people, I mean, they're just wasting all this extra. So you had to print out the ballots with the initiative on it. You had to print out all the signature sheets. There's all the media and ads for this bill to pass, all your leaflets you get in the mail. And then after it's all said and done.
But the leaflets and all that kind of stuff, I think,
that's paid by them. That's fine.
That comes from them.
But the judge having to make this ruling.
The court process is the money question.
It seems to me that.
And just a waste of time.
And so, and he's got lawyers. We know he's got lawyers because he's been getting busted for stuff.
Exactly.
So don't his lawyers look at these initiatives?
Maybe
I just don't get it.
Maybe they think that nobody would notice.
Carol, we're noticing.
Yeah, we are noticing. So I don't know. That's a really good question, and we need to have somebody with probably more knowledge than I have that could tell us maybe some of those answers.
Okay. It just pops into my head. I mean, we've been going through this back and forth. All right, 722 iFIBER One News Radio. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Previously on the Under the Hood Show.
This would be Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, go ahead.
I've got an 87 Honda that I just picked up for a song, like $100, and it runs beautifully at 305,000 miles.
Quite impressive.
But when you start it, you have to start it 3 times to get the automatic choke to kick in properly.
So what, Glenn? It was $100.
Go Under the Hood, Saturdays at noon on iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Got Karnowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving baseline and a two-handed throw down dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson.
From tip-off to the final buzzer.
And throws it down with two hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studio, you're listening to Daybreak.
$7:23 here at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. It's Daybreak with Jeff and Carol here. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Jeff.
7:23.
Friday.
See these commercials on TV now for this Uber ride-sharing service. I don't even know if they have them in our area or in Olympia, but this style of business, this new economy is really making waves in different ways. You know, it's making waves in state houses all across the country as people try to figure out how we're going to work with this. I don't even remember what they call it. It's some sort of weird business strategy. You know, ride-sharing services is some sort of the new economy of this. So state houses all across the country are looking at this thing. People are signing up all over the place to Uber drive. And even in hoity-toity places like Colorado where they do Sundance, it's not even just the driving that's going on. Is that right?
Yeah, they want to offer a new service called, helicopter flights on demand. So you just punch in your location in your smartphone and say, hey, I need a ride. Helicopter comes down and gets you.
I'm thinking it's going to be a little more expensive than just a car.
All right. Yeah, it probably will be, yeah.
So it is coming up at Sundance, and it started, Sundance started yesterday, and it goes through the end of this month in Utah. Uber Chopper will be shuttling festival attendees in a couple different choppers in a pilot project, and it's all part of Airbus. So Airbus is partnering with Sundance on this thing. Service will begin with your normal Uber car ride. So however you do it. And I've thought about becoming an Uber driver.
Yeah, you have to have a special car though. I mean, you have to have there's requirements for your car. You probably can't have a child seat in it.
That was my whole deal. That was my whole shtick.
Your angle?
That was my whole angle. Hey, it's just me and my son, and man, I got to make ends meet. I got to drive him. He's unfortunately
in the car.
And then
you could do like a reality show.
And then they just tip you better.
That'd be great. You could have a camera in there.
Put the camera in there.
Oh, well. So anyways.
You call Uber, they come pick you up, and instead of taking you to your destination, they take you to the shopper's takeoff point.
Right.
And then you would not be surprised to know that it's already been going on between Manhattan and the Hamptons.
Well, yeah, of course so.
We first heard about this type of a chopper service when Matt Lauer's contract came out. Do you remember this? Matt Lauer on the Today Show, his contract came out, and one of the deals is that they chopper him in and out from Manhattan, I think, to the Hamptons every weekend or something like that. So they've tested it, and it seems to work. They did it at Cannes, the film festival, also Bonnaroo. Prices for these offerings range from a few $100 to a few $1,000s.
Depending who you are.
Depending on
sliding scale, what you can pay.
It is a sliding scale.
So the airwaves are going to be crowded. We're going to have drones flying. We're going to have people flying in helicopters.
Well, there's just the basic drones that people use for photography these days. Then there's going to be the delivery drones. Then there'll be the drones that carry us places. Then there'll be, for the folks that don't want to deal with setting up their flight itinerary, the helicopter drones from Uber.
Yeah, exactly. They come and get you. Unmanned
That's why
flying.
Space, we got to have 10-foot planes that different types of aircraft maintain themselves in.
Yeah, I'm thinking of space junk and things that fall out of the sky. It's bound to happen. What goes up?
It's going to come down eventually. 7:27 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Good morning to you. Checking out the website today. We encourage you to check back early and often under local news. Jeff Chu's been out and about around the community, and the 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit Your United Way of Mason County is February 12th in Shelton. Good stuff. It's at the Civic Center, and lunch will be provided by Maple Glen. So get those tickets now. And also, Jeff has a wonderful piece on this last Homes First meeting that they had just a couple of days ago. We heard Tammy Newton on the air with us yesterday, and great turnout. Standing room only. And another thing, yesterday we talked with Arlen Morris about the Inquiring Minds Speaker Series. Who's that going to be again tomorrow?
That's going to be Dr. Sean Wong, and he's going to talk about defending your voice, teaching soldiers how to tell their stories. And that's going to be at the Harstein Island Community Club. And it's going to be on Sunday. Doors open at 2, doors open at 1:30, and the coffee pot is on.
Good. Nice. That'll be a good one. They've got some other big speakers, including, what did she say, Islam 101?
Yeah.
Wow, that'll be quite a conversation to better understand the population of Islam that, over 1 billion people or something like that follow the Muslim faith and Islam and all that stuff. So Islam 101. We'll talk with them again next month about that next one. We told you next half hour, about 7:50, we'll talk about passwords and how awful people's passwords are. I had a great way I saw the other day on how to fix your password. You come up with a sentence, and then you use the first letter of each of the words in that sentence as your password. And if you're going to use something like, I work for iFIBER or something, so I would be number 4, W, I.
But then you also have to use one of the symbols.
Oh, always an exclamation point, because I love working here.
And then people will probably know
your exclamation point.
They'll know your password.
I'm going to change them during the break.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A town hall meeting this week packed the conference room at the Mason County Public Works Building, where veterans and homeless advocates discussed housing issues for veterans. With some veterans struggling to live in the county, the Thurston County-based Homes First organization is joining with Mason County to buy housing for homeless veterans. Homes First has 11 homes for adults with development disabilities in Thurston County, 5 Oxford houses, which are democratically run drug-free homes, and a home that houses 5 veterans who were homeless. Homes First wants to bring such veterans housing to Mason County. Bud Blake, Thurston County Commissioner and chairman of that county's housing action team, said Mason and Thurston County will work together to try to solve Mason County's affordable housing problem, and invited the community to join in the effort to solve the housing issue. Central Mason Fire and EMS and Shelton Fire Marshal Mike Patty stopped by Daybreak and gave some statistics about the kind of calls they take.
We run about 85%, 87% medical with our fire district, as does most fire departments in the United States anymore. We've become, the guys don't like to hear it, but we've become more of an emergency medical agency that does an occasional fire.
Yeah.
But that's why we were so lucky to have the citizens allow us to renew our EMS levy last fall, and we've been able to put one new ambulance, rebuilt ambulance, on the road, and we'll be taking delivery of our second one in the next couple of weeks. So that'll give us those vehicles. We put the last one in service first part of October, and our maintenance staff just did their 10,000 mile checkup on it. So we put a lot of miles on those rigs really quick.
During the primary election back in August, the Central Mason Fire and EMS Emergency Medical Services regular property tax levy, a proposition to replace its expiring emergency medical services property, passed with over 70% of residents voting yes. Racer clam diggers are back in action at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are in evening tides. There's a one-day dig at Copalis Beach today. The digs at Long Beach run through next Wednesday. The department is limiting razor clam digging at Copalis to help ensure the beach will have openings throughout the spring. The 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit your United Way of Mason County is set for February 12th at the Shelton Civic Center. Tickets can be purchased online at unitedwaymasonco.org or by calling 360-426-4999 or stop by the United Way office at 724 West Railroad Avenue. The major fundraiser for United Way of Mason County helps meet the most critical needs in the county, from youth to seniors, domestic violence to hunger, hospice care to daycare. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
Alex Jones and InfoWars, weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER One News Radio.
But they run this hoax. It's the law. No, there is no law. And they all engage in this big conspiracy because they think it's the right thing to do. And then once it starts killing people, they can never admit, oh my gosh, this is a eugenics program. This is a mass public testing program. No, no, no. There's no admissions of that. It's just make fun of anybody that talks about it and say that we're going to make everybody sick. That's all over the news now. You're going to make me sick. You take a vaccine.
Spurs and Cavs win. Kobe's seeing stars. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. With much of the attention in the NBA focused on Golden State, the Spurs are quietly enjoying what could be a special season. Another win last night over the Suns.
Anderson now hands it off to Simmons, going to take it inside, all the way in, slam, dunk with a right hand, a hammer slam for Jonathan Simmons.
On WOAI, San Antonio 117-89 in Phoenix. It's the Spurs' 12th straight. Since Monday's 34-point spanking at the hands of the Warriors, the Cavaliers have won back-to-back games.
Irving bounces to Love, left wing side. He'll kick to J.R. Smith into LeBron James. Fouled by Stevens and up and in it goes. LeBron James.
On WTAM, James with a double-double. Cleveland 115-102 over the Clippers. Rajon Rondo racked up the numbers for the Kings last night.
Hands it off to Rondo. Drives to the rack. Scores! Rondo has the triple-double as he gets the bucket. The 5th triple-double this year for Rajon Rondo.
On KHTK, Sacramento got past Atlanta 91-88 in the Kings' 4th consecutive win. Fans made it clear they want Kobe Bryant in the NBA All-Star Game. Bryant received a league-high 1.9 million votes. He'll be a starter in his 18th and final Stars game. ESPN NBA analyst Kevin Pelton on how many minutes he expects Kobe to play.
Probably see him at the start of each half for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then maybe if it's close down the stretch, he comes in and tries to finish off one last All-Star game for him.
The game is on February 14th in Toronto. In the NHL, the Blackhawks' 12-game winning streak is over.
Top of the right circle, Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov shoots, score! Punch!
On WFLA, the Lightning won their 7th in a row, defeating Chicago 2-1. Australian Open defending and 6-time champion Serena Williams is into the 4th round along with Roger Federer, who became the first player to reach 300 Grand Slam victories. And Maria Sharapova is also into the 4th. Bill Johnson, who won the downhill at the 1984 Winter Games in Sarajevo, has died. He was 55. He was the first American male to win Olympic gold in alpine skiing. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
For iFIBER One News Radio, a good morning to you. 'Tis a Friday. I'm Jeff Slakey looking at sports, and Carol in just a moment will update us on the weather. Good morning.
Good morning.
Last night at the Mini Dome, it was senior night, and the high climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-3 in some wrestling. The win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out the website later, iFIBER1newsradio.com, as Sports Director Sean Wells will have full video highlights of the match, including interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Shelton head coach Chris Lacey. On a game heard on iFIBER One News Radio last night, Evan Fitzner scored 20, and St. Mary's survived a late mental error to beat Gonzaga 70-67 for sole possession of first place in the West Coast Conference. Our next Gonzaga basketball game is tomorrow with the pregame at 12:40. Seattle Sounders have signed homegrown star Jordan Morris, convincing the top college player, start your professional career here. Start with us. Start in the U.S. You don't need to go overseas. We're all you need right here in Seattle with the Sounders. Always kind of seemed like he'd be a Sounder. He came up. He's from Mercer Island, as we heard yesterday from Sean Wells, and he's played through the Sounders Academy. He got the Herman Trophy in college, and that's basically the soccer version of the Heisman Trophy for football. So big deal there. He skipped his senior year with the Cardinal for a chance to turn pro. Tonight on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com, a high-def high school basketball broadcast with the Shelton boys taking on Central Kitsap from the Mini Dome. Also included a halftime performance by the dance team. And Sunday, the NFL Championship Series is going on. First game, Denver, New England, then Arizona and Carolina. Taking a look at the South Sound forecast, here's Carol.
Good morning. It's 50. We have a steady rain early, turning into showers later with thunder possible. Our high today will be 51. Saturday, we'll have rain showers. Sunday, partly cloudy skies in the morning and then just mainly cloudy. And we're going to keep our daytime temps right in the high 40s. The Skokomish Valley Road and the Borgalt Road are closed right now to all through traffic. And as soon as we get information that they open, we will let you know. That is on our website under the weather. And also, I just want to say, yes, it's raining and we're sort of flooding, but East Coast is bracing for its first major storm of the season. More than 2 feet of snow could hit D.C. and the storm will move north, with about a foot of snow expected in New York.
Yeah, it's rough over there.
Yeah, about 50 million people will probably be affected. So Right now it's 50. Balmy.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Well, good morning to you. It's 7:40 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and we have got Jeannie Raywald coming in just a few moments. Got some guests as well as we talk through the Garden Gate and their upcoming Master Gardener workshop tomorrow at Memorial Hall. All season gardening, and what are some of the techniques that we could learn?
Don't know yet. I guess we're going to learn what kind of techniques we'll learn for extending our gardening. They're going to tell us that, hopefully.
That's right. Learning techniques to extend your gardening season, start sooner and finish later, and what works in our climate with Bonnie Day Orr and Terry Conley. That's what's coming up tomorrow here at Memorial Hall, 7:41. And also coming up at 8:15, Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District, and a fishing and hunting report with Steve Kramer, and a skiing report with Chuck Devine is coming up. 7 days of razor clam digging is starting and underway under the recreation tab of iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com. Just one of the great stories that you can find out there at Long Beach and Copalis. So today, Friday, 5:35, and it's going to be a negative 0.7 low tide at Long Beach and Copalis. More of the same through the weekend. 7:41 now at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Mason County United Way has a fundraising lunch forthcoming. When is that?
That's going to be February 12th, and these are just some of the stories that you can find under our local news. Our reporter, Jeff Chu, has been out and about, going to the meetings, talking to people. Also, he covered the Homes First situation last week, and we also have stories on there about stuff that the city's doing. They're installing the electric reader boards. We talked about that, but you can find all this information on our website under the local news tab.
A mudslide has shut down passenger train service between Seattle and Everett, and Gus Malonis, who's the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway spokesperson, says passenger and commuter train service through the area suspended until Saturday morning. Carol was just talking about how much weather we're getting hit with currently, and then the East Coast, woof, nothing to even sneeze at. The slide hit the main line there about 9 miles north of downtown Seattle. And, you know, it takes a couple days to get this thing cleaned out and checked. They got to check all the tracks and make sure nothing got knocked out of kilter so they can continue that service, which is a very heavy trained service between Seattle and Everett.
And also on our website, under our public notices page, we do post things that the county advertises for, such as there's 4 positions open on the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on the Aging Advisory Council. There's also District 2 for Mason County Planning Advisory Commission position open. And then we also have a Parks and Trails Advisory Board position open. So if you want to find out about those things, you can go to our website, or you can obviously go to the Mason County government website. Well, they'll have those applications. You can fill them out and see if you can get on the board.
Get involved.
Get involved.
Jeannie Ray Walton, special guests coming up next.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. With all the rain and flooding we're having right now, river fishing is pretty much out of the picture. So it looks like for this upcoming week, your best bet's going to be probably going clam digging. There are evening digs scheduled from the 21st through the 27th at Long Beach. If you go, I would bring a surf rod and see if you could catch some of those yummy surf perch. I like to throw a clam neck or a sand shrimp for bait personally. Just be very careful of the surf. Another fun option for the weekend would be go spend some time duck hunting. If it stays stormy like this, I expect shooting to be good. I would concentrate my efforts on Willapa Bay, Grays Harbor, or up the Chehalis River Valley, all of which could be good. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at kmas.com. And don't forget my site, kramertackleandguide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
Time now for your KMAS ski report, and there's more fresh snow taking us into the weekend. Should be a great weekend to hit the slopes at Summit at Snoqualmie Alpental. They have powder skiing on 20 trails. They're skiing and riding till 10 at night. Summit West and Summit Central 100% with an 8-foot snowpack. Summit East returns Saturday. Crystal Mountain with another 10 inches of fresh snow, a wet pack snow surface. Mission Ridge got 10 inches. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails, lots of groom runs, plenty of powder stashes too. A snowshoe trek for Mission Ridge Saturday night. And there's live music Saturday night at Mission Ridge. Stevens Pass went into the weekend with a foot of fresh snow. Milder temperatures are moving in for the weekend. Mount Baker was back Friday, and they had fresh, untouched snow. Mount Bachelor and Mount Hood Meadows are both 100% in Oregon. Schweitzer, Idaho picked up 4 inches fresh. They have wet pack snow on 92 trails. Sun Valley, Idaho, 113 pack powder slopes. I'm Chuck Devine for KMAS News Radio, AM 1030, FM 103.3.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Good morning to you. It's 7:45 here at iFIBER One and Daybreak with Jeff and Carol. We got great guests in studio. Carol, who are we talking to now?
Oh, we got Jeannie Rewalt. She comes in all the time.
Hi, Jeannie.
She's, from the WSU Master Gardeners. And then we also have Erica Stewart, who's also a Master Gardener. They're going to talk to us about probably the Garden Gate or the Master Gardener workshops happening on Saturday and other interesting stuff, especially because Jeff has lots of questions about
I got to find out what
his issues, his trees. So first, let's start talking about tomorrow. What's going on with that?
Well, the WSU Master Gardeners are putting on their gardening workshops again this year. The series is called Through the Garden Gate. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to extend your gardening throughout the year. So Bonnie Day Orr is going to talk about that to help you know how to plant so that you can be harvesting from your garden all through the year. And then the second part will be about season extenders. Terry Conley will have lots of wonderful information about hoop houses and different ways to protect your plants and extend your growing season.
So even just a week on either side of the traditional growing season or 2 weeks, that can add up to quite a lot of extra food that you can then package and hold away for.
Right. You can harvest earlier, harvest later, and also there are certain varieties you can plant in August that will start growing sooner. So about now, well, in a month. In February, they'll start coming up and start producing then probably sooner than if you planted directly into the garden.
Oh, wow. Interesting. And it's pretty rainy out, and we see that. So I think a lot of people would go, well, I can't get out there and garden in all this rain. It's just so messy, and it gets all mucky.
He doesn't do mud pies.
I don't get it. I heard. My fingers are dirty here. But you can go out there and you still can garden regardless of the weather.
Well, it's probably going to be more harvesting at this point.
Okay.
So I know that I still have kale and beets in the garden and a few other things. So, I don't want to spend any time out in this muck, but I can run across the street. I garden across the street from my house, so I can run over there and pick a little kale or pull some beets up. That's not too awful.
Okay.
And as you learned in the last Garden Gate workshop, that healthy soil is not going to be as muddy as.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
That's right.
So this weekend, it's at a Memorial Hall, 2nd and Franklin. It's $5 for workshop. You pay at the door. Pre-registration, please. And the phone number for that?
427-9670, extension 680.
And further on throughout the rest, you've got a couple more of these upcoming. The next one is going to be February 6th. And what's the topic we'll be discussing then?
We're going to be talking about water-wise gardening.
Yeah. There's a lot of water
A little
out there.
ironic.
Yeah, gardening without water.
So this
Good
is
luck with that.
Is this the drip systems and the irrigation that you can put in?
Okay. And mulching and different things that you can do to save the water. And this was, we decided to do this after last summer, which was, unusually dry, and who knows what kind of summer we're going to have.
Yeah.
So it's good to be ready.
Right, especially if you're paying for your water.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets pretty expensive.
So through the Garden Gate and these workshops, the other thing that we learned at the last one on the 9th about the healthy soil was something about the Master Gardening Program. It's now an ongoing open enrollment. Is that right? So people can always build in a little bit here and there and start working?
Yes, so you can sign up to start the class at any time rather than January. So every month we have a class through November. And so whenever you start, you just go through the month before you start it. So you start in May, then you're done in April of the next year.
Okay. Very nice. So people can, there's still space available. People can sign up and show up tomorrow at Memorial Hall?
Yes.
Very nice. 9 to noon, $5 at the door, all season gardening. So for $5, you will definitely learn the skills you need to get those $5 back in food.
And that's a 50% reduction. So it has been $10, but because we did so great on the plant sale, thank you very much, everyone. The chairs, Lisa and Erica both decided let's only charge $5, get more people in.
That's great. There was a lot of people there the last time.
Yes, and I'd like to mention that we have wonderful snacks.
Yes, you do.
You do.
Tea snacks
Trying
and
to keep
door
it a little
fries.
close
And
to
a door prize.
Yeah, I was trying to keep that a little quiet, But there are wonderful snacks there. Very nice.
So real quick, Jeff, your lime tree, it's still outside. You haven't protected it. Is that true?
You know me. You know me very well. Yes.
Okay. Everything I have read is that it can't survive past 25 degrees.
Really?
I know we got lower than 25 degrees.
I know we did too. So
it'll be interesting to see how it wasn't budding. It was other trees in the neighborhood that you saw.
Yeah,
budding.
not the lime tree.
Some roadies are already budding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And some of the early.
Has not moved.
All right. Go out and see if it's alive. Scratch the bark with your thumbnail and see if it's green underneath.
Okay.
All right.
That's a good test.
And then we'll get a report back.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll be listening next week.
Well, thank you very much for that. And again, it is at Memorial Hall tomorrow from 9 to noon, all season gardening. It's 7:51 right now. When we come back, we're going to talk a little youth baseball here after we hear from the Old Farmer's Almanac on Daybreak.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
WeatherLore says the coldest weeks of the year are upon us. Does the science agree? We investigate today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Friday, January 22nd, the 22nd day of the year. R&B vocalist Sam Cooke was born on this day, and this night in 1968, NBC socked it to us with a premiere of Laugh-In. We often repeat that age-old winter proverb, as the days lengthen, the cold strengthens. Does it hold up to scientific scrutiny? For the eastern half of the U.S., the answer is a definite yes. The season's coldest temperatures occur on average right about now, a month after winter solstice. But areas west of the Central Plains experience their coldest weeks in December, sometimes even before the solstice. It's all because of the influence of Pacific Ocean air, of course, and it goes to show that weather lore is always subject to the regional climate where it was cultivated. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
Are you a do-it-yourselfer or a direct-it-yourselfer?
Every weekend, people tell us about overspending on projects they could have handled themselves for lots less money.
And we hear from people who ended up overspending because they tried to do something they should have called in a pro to tackle.
Well, we'll help you sort it out. I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Got a remodeling or a repair project?
We can help you decide whether to do it yourself or direct it yourself this weekend on the Money Fit Home Improvement Radio Show.
Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio Studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and great guests continuing on here this morning. And to talk about Mason County, the Mason County Youth Baseball Association, it's Brianna Lepe in studio with us. And good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
Friday
you for having
to you.
us.
Yeah, for sure. And we are excited to talk about youth baseball getting underway. And it's a little rainy, but it won't be rainy once we get ready to get going. And people are registering today. The manager applications are due today. So talk to us a little bit about Mason County Youth Baseball.
Mason County Youth Baseball, we actually serve ages 3 and up. Last year we started our 3 and 4 division, and that was fabulous. It ran about 10 weeks total for them, and it got the 3 and 4 year olds out there just learning the basic fundamentals of baseball.
Oh, what fun.
Then the next year they advanced to what was once T-ball, but it's now getting them ready for pitching. And then the age divisions just keep going up.
I bet that's something fun to see these little 3 or 4 year olds running around.
I honestly, there's nothing cuter. I mean, it boils down with any sport, whether it be soccer, whether it be wrestling, whether it be flag football, just watching the little ones out there. It's absolutely spectacular.
So you get a pretty big turnout of kids coming out, signing up to do that.
Yeah, that was our turnout was larger than we expected for it being its first year and pretty new and unknown. So
now
we're
you're
excited.
ready.
Yes.
This year.
The website, before we move on further, is mcyba-shelton.com. Also, you can find them under the Mason County Youth Baseball Association page on Facebook. So as I mentioned, the manager applications are due today. What would it take for someone who wants to give back and be a manager for a ball club like this?
It's basically somebody that has, just a heart and love for the game and a love for the kids. And, you're depending upon age, your basic fundamentals of the game can vary.
Okay.
And it's just being willing to give that time to those kids and, make an impact.
So I don't have to be like Lou Piniella or anything going out there?
Absolutely not. It's great. And, this year we've are going to be working more closely with the high school, their baseball program, and they'll be helping out and giving the kids something to look up to and aspire to. So that's great too.
Next week, we've got some in-person registrations at a couple of different places. Where are those going to be, and what are the times that people can know? It looks like the PUD is one of them on the 27th.
PUD 3 on Johns Prairie.
Okay.
And then we also have an in-person registration on Saturday the 30th, and that's going to be up at the Mini Dome.
Okay. Do parents need to bring any physical sheets or any sort of documentation to these in registrations?
No.
Okay.
We do have a concussion protocol that the parents have to review and go over, because that's very, very important. And then if it's a first-year player, we take a birth certificate just to verify age, and it's a very simple registration process. And we actually have a payment plan set up, so it's not as hard of a hit on parents that are registering, having to do it all in 1 month. We can break it down.
Oh, that's really nice. And the schedule of the season, how many games would a kid traditionally play throughout the season?
That varies upon age.
Okay.
Typically, our 10U, 8U, 6U, you're playing about 12 games, sometimes 14. The older kids, the 12U, the 14U, they can play upwards of 20, 30 games, just depending on what. We have a couple of different divisions this year. We have our Division I teams, which are the kids that want to be a little bit more in practice. They practiced all winter, and they're going to roll out the spring with a little bit more under their belt as far as what they've been able to do indoor.
That's great. So you're not overworking the young kids, and you're not underworking the older kids. Everybody's getting a nice little
we
collection.
Definitely strive to create a balance. There's a lot of kids that want to play baseball year round, and we're really working towards that. And then there's the kids that say, hey, I want to wrestle, I want to play football, and I want to do baseball in the spring. And, we've got kids that run track and do baseball at the same time. So it's one of those things that we have to try to meet everybody's needs, and we work really hard at that.
So youth baseball, it's boys and girls.
Absolutely.
And they play together on the same team.
Absolutely.
Everything's working on that. That's pretty cool.
Sorry about that. mcyba-shelton.com, and we'll put the links on our Facebook page too, so people can get to them quickly. They get uniforms, they get shirts, and they're called out during the announcements, pictures. It's a lot of fun for the kids. They're big time ball players.
It's great fun. We have our opening day ceremony in April.
Okay.
I believe that's the 23rd. I would have to look at the calendar to verify. But that's a big day. It's a full day of baseball. We have every team out on the fields. Dale has came and
made the announcements,
called out the kids, and
I heard my name. I've seen those. I've seen their faces when he calls their names. And actually, we're just running right out of time with Brianna Lepe from Mason County Youth Baseball. We'll post the links on the website, mcyba-shelton.com. Get in, get registered. It is forthcoming. Thank you, Brianna, for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Alex Jones and InfoWars on from 6 to 9 weekdays on iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. A dire warning from D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser as a major blizzard bears down, packing the potential of 2 feet of snow.
We see this as a major storm. It has life and death implications, and all the residents of the District of Columbia should treat it that way.
Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed closed schools early.
Please start making preparations to get your children home as soon as possible.
He also asked businesses to close early. Nearly 5,000 flights have been canceled. Philadelphia's airport is closing entirely tomorrow. Governor Chris Christie says he'll decide later today whether to return to New Jersey. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said he should, but Christie initially said the state could handle things without him. The National Review has been uninvited as host of a Republican presidential debate after releasing a special edition titled Against Trump. ABC political director Rick Klein has reaction.
This is a full-scale conservative freakout. The National Review editors, one of the most respected conservative publications over the past half century, they put together a special edition that is all about dumping Trump. And what's remarkable about this is the breadth of writers and thinkers that they have making different arguments against the man that is now the undisputed frontrunner for the nomination. Only 10 days before the Iowa caucuses, they are coming together and saying the Republican Party, the Conservative conservative movement about to make a huge mistake.
A Kansas appeals court has just refused to let the state's first-in-the-nation ban on a common second trimester abortion method take effect, saying the Kansas Constitution protects the right to abortion independent of the U.S. Constitution. Britax is recalling 70,000 Be Safe Elite infant car seats because the carry handle can break, letting the seats fall. Pope Francis is warning people to choose words carefully because they can fan the flames of fear and hatred. To mark the Church's World Day of Social Communications, the Pope urged politicians in particular to be inspired by mercy. This is ABC News.
Racing legend Richard Petty.
After over 1,100 races, you could say I've been through the ringer. To help me keep feeling my best, I use odor-free Blue MU made with real MU oil. Blue MU continuous pain relief spray makes it perfect for all those hard-to-reach places. And now there's the new Blue MU Maximum Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Perfect for hard-hitting arthritis pain. Thanks to Blue MU, nothing slows down the king. Use what I use. Blue MU. It works fast and you won't stink.
Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and other fine retailers.
Advance Auto Parts knows what makes a car guy a car guy. It's the commitment to maintain an engine through the 300,000-mile mark. It's burning the midnight oil to finish a job most guys would rather hand off. It's loyalty, and it's why there's speed perks from Advance Auto Parts. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense. Advance Auto Parts, for guys who love getting under the hood.
See store to sign up. Visit speedperks.com for details.
In the wake of recent terror attacks, officials in the Big Easy are working hard to secure Mardi Gras. More from ABC's Jim Ryan.
In the next month, 1 million people will flow into New Orleans for the annual organized chaos that is Mardi Gras season. Planning on going?
Assume that you are being filmed wherever you are and whatever you're doing.
Jeffrey Salat heads New Orleans FBI office, which has mapped every public and private security camera in the French Quarter and installed new temporary ones to fill blind spots.
There is nothing that's a better deterrent to keeping people safe than to knowing that they are on film.
No specific plots have been uncovered, but he says unprecedented threats around the world call for unprecedented preparation for Mardi Gras. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Michael Caine is weighing in on the Oscar diversity controversy. Asked if he thought too few black actors were nominated, he said, "You can't just vote for someone because they're black. They have to give a good performance." He also said he thought Idris Elba was great in Beasts of No Nation and seemed surprised he hadn't been nominated. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A town hall meeting this week packed the conference room at the Mason County Public Works Building, where veterans and homeless advocates discussed housing issues for veterans. With some veterans struggling to live in the county, the Thurston County-based Homes First organization is joining with Mason County to buy housing for homeless veterans. Homes First has 11 homes for adults with development disabilities in Thurston County, 5 Oxford houses, which are democratically run drug-free homes, and a home that houses 5 veterans who were homeless. Homes First wants to bring such veterans housing to Mason County. Bud Blake, Thurston County Commissioner and chairman of that county's housing action team, said Mason and Thurston County will work together to try to solve Mason County's affordable housing problem, and invited the community to join in the effort to solve the housing issue. Central Mason Fire and EMS and Shelton Fire Marshal Mike Patty stopped by Daybreak and gave some statistics about the kind of calls they take.
We run about 85%, 87% medical with our fire district, as does most fire departments in the United States anymore. We've become, the guys don't like to hear it, but we've become more of an emergency medical agency that does an occasional fire.
Yeah.
But that's why we were so lucky to have the citizens allow us to renew our EMS levy last fall, and we've been able to put one new ambulance, rebuilt ambulance on the road, and we'll be taking delivery of our second one in the next couple of weeks. So that'll give us those vehicles. We put the last one in service first part of October, and our maintenance staff just did their 10,000 mile checkup on it. So we put a lot of miles on those rigs really quick.
During the primary election back in August, the Central Mason Fire and EMS Emergency Medical Services regular property tax levy, a proposition to replace its expiring emergency medical services property, passed with over 70% of residents voting yes. Racer clam diggers are back in action at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are in evening tides. There's a one-day dig at Copalis Beach today. The digs at Long Beach run through next Wednesday. The department is limiting razor clam digging at Copalis to help ensure the beach will have openings throughout the spring. The 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit your United Way of Mason County is set for February 12th at the Shelton Civic Center. Tickets can be purchased online at unitedwaymasonco.org or by calling 360-426-4999 or stop by the United Way office at 724 West Railroad Avenue. The major fundraiser for United Way of Mason County helps meet the most critical needs in the county, from youth to seniors, domestic violence to hunger, hospice care to daycare. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
It's about your life and your money. It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
You don't win by accident. So this is your year to win. You don't get out of debt. You don't save your marriage by accident. You don't increase the quality of your marriage by accident. You don't raise great kids accidentally. These are intentional acts that you make choices on the variables in your environment, and you form and control your life.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Just imagine yourself in the driver's seat. New car smell, shiny dashboard, clean seats, features to make driving even more comfortable and enjoyable. Relax, take a big deep breath, and make it yours. This is Doug Sample from Whitney's. We'll help you get that new vehicle. Upgrade, trade for a commuter car, or change in size to fit your family. We'll help you find the right vehicle at the right price.
A $150 negotiable document fee may be added to the price of all vehicles. Just down the road to Whitney's.
Spurs and Cavs win. Kobe's seeing stars. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. With much of the attention in the NBA focused on Golden State, the Spurs are quietly enjoying what could be a special season. Another win last night over the Suns.
Anderson now hands it off to Simmons. Going to take it inside. All the way in. Slam dunk with a right hand. A hammer slam for Jonathan Simmons.
On WOAI, San Antonio 117-89 in Phoenix. It's the Spurs' 12th straight. Since Monday's 34-point spanking at the hands of the Warriors, the Cavaliers have won back-to-back games.
Irving bounces to Love, left wing side. He'll kick to J.R. Smith into LeBron James. Fouled by Stevenson, up and in it goes. LeBron James.
On WTAM, James with a double-double. Cleveland 115-102 over the Clippers. Rajon Rondo racked up the numbers for the Kings last night.
Hands it off to Rondo. Drives to the rack. Scores! Rondo has the triple-double as he gets the bucket. The fifth triple-double this year for Rajon Rondo.
On KHTK, Sacramento got past Atlanta 91-88 in the Kings' fourth consecutive win. Fans made it clear they want Kobe Bryant in the NBA All-Star Game. Bryant received a league-high 1.9 million votes. He'll be a starter in his 18th and final Stars game. ESPN NBA analyst Kevin Pelton on how many minutes he expects Kobe to play.
Probably see him at the start of each half for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then maybe if it's close down the stretch, he comes in and tries to finish off one last All-Star game for him.
The game is on February 14th in Toronto. In the NHL, the Blackhawks' 12-game winning streak is over.
Top of the right circle, Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov shoots, score! Touchdown!
On WFLA, the Lightning won their 7th in a row, defeating Chicago 2-1. Australian Open defending and 6-time champion Serena Williams is into the 4th round along with Roger Federer, who became the first player to reach 300 Grand Slam victories. And Maria Sharapova is also into the 4th. Bill Johnson, who won the downhill at the 1984 Winter Games in Sarajevo, has died. He was 55. He was the first American male to win Olympic gold in alpine skiing. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Well, good morning to you. It's Friday, Daybreak here, iFIBER One News Radio, and it's 8:10. We're checking sports. I'm Jeff Slakey, and Carol Gardner around will check the weather here with us in a little while. It was senior night at the Mini Dome, and the High Climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-3. The win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play, and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out the website, iFIBER1newsradio.com later today, as sports director Sean Wells will have full video highlights of the match, including interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Shelton head coach Chris Lacey. On a game heard on the radio last night, Evan Fitzner scored 20, and St. Mary's survived a late mental error to beat Gonzaga 70-67 for sole possession of first place in the West Coast Conference. Our next Gonzaga basketball game is tomorrow with the pregame at 12:40, and they'll be taking on Pacific. Seattle Sounders have signed homegrown star Jordan Morris. They convinced the young player to start his professional career here with us rather than overseas. He's always kind of been around the Sounders organization, and it always seemed like it when he played with the Sounders Academy that he would eventually be with the Sounders. Well, things went hot and heavy with him when he was at Stanford. He won the Herman Trophy, which is like the Heisman Trophy in football, but the Herman Trophy is for soccer. And people were looking. Germany was looking at signing him, picking him up, but we Sounders had the rights to him, and they made the decision. And Morris skipped his senior year with Stanford for a chance to turn pro. Tonight on iFIBER ONE News Radio, a high-def high school basketball broadcast with Shelton boys taking on Central Kitsap from the Mini Dome. Also, a halftime performance by the dance team. We'll have Gonzaga basketball against Pacific, as I mentioned, pregame 12:40 on Saturday and Sunday. NFL Championship Series gets underway. The first game on the docket, Denver, New England, then Arizona at Carolina. Pregame gets underway at 11. Here's Carol now with the forecast.
Good morning. It's 50, steady rain early, turning into showers later with thunder possible. The high today will be 51. Saturday, rain showers early, then just cloudy in the daytime. And then Sunday, we might see some sun in the morning and then just cloudy skies in the afternoon. The daytime temps are going to stay in the high 40s, and right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
8:13 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and coming up in just a couple of moments, we're going to welcome here from the Shelton School District, Dr. Alex Apostle for his Friday visits at 8:15. Some of the stories on iFIBER1newsradio.com, the headlines we'd like to move your attention to. A woman was shot in a movie theater yesterday and man subsequently arrested. There's also a lot of heavy snow and rain coming over the area. And a second flu-related death has been reported in Kitsap County. Those are all on iFIBER1newsradio.com.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
You answered all your emails by noon. Get a freshly prepared Egg McMuffin. Actually left work on time? Then get yourself a savory sausage McMuffin with egg. You saw the weirdest midnight movie. Well, get a delicious sausage burrito. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, you can get delectable breakfast tastes anytime. Egg McMuffin, hotcakes and sausage and more. It's time to start enjoying the breakfast you love whenever you want. Just listen to a radio commercial? Get some golden hash browns. McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location.
This love letter's for my sweet beauty. Your scent drives me all sorts of cray. Every time you touch my lips, ooh, how it makes my day. Rich, smooth, fresh, and steamy. Dang, you're a dream. So let me give you some sugar, and then perhaps some cream. There's no denying your love for a rich, smooth, fresh brewed McCafe. And now, get any size for just $1. A la carte only. Prices and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 1033 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and we have a great guest in studio. Fridays at this time, we welcome Shelton School District Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle to the radio. And good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Very good. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Big win last night for the High Climbers in some good old-fashioned wrestling. It was senior night, 73-3.
That's the kind of score we'd like to see.
I'd like to see that for sure. Fun. How often do you get out to these night events? You're so busy during the day.
I'll tell you, it's you know, I love sports, and I want to do the very best to support our kids. But I'm telling you, with my schedule this first year, it's been very difficult. Like last night, we had a community open forum. At the same time, the wrestling match was going on, and I know they were honoring the seniors. But it's been difficult to get to the basketball games. I did pretty well with the football program, but I didn't get to the girls' sports. So a goal of mine this spring will be to do everything I can to attend the sporting events and the different activities that are going on in our schools. But next year, I'm going to make a personal goal somehow, some way to attend more of those types of activities.
I like it. And iFIBER One News Radio is going to do the best that we can, too, to provide the community with more and more Shelton sports coverage as well.
Right.
What would you like to discuss today?
Well, this has been a great week. I had the opportunity to present to the Kiwanis Club here in Shelton, and they were very excited about the overall direction of our school district. A lot of support from the members of the Kiwanis Club, and it was a great experience to have that conversation with them, to basically explain to them the direction of our school district. Talked about Graduation Matters Shelton. And again, they were extremely supportive and excited to do whatever they could do to help us. And they do a lot of great things in our school district right now. So that was wonderful. I also had the opportunity to present the direction of our school district to the Democratic Women's Club. And basically, again, the same support, the same enthusiasm, just great people wanting to do whatever they can do to help our kids and to continue the vision of our school district. So Shelton and our school district, we're leaning forward, and we're excited to continue the great success that we're experiencing here in Shelton.
I just hear everywhere I go, walking around, talking with folks, you always come up in conversation, and what a great job that you have done in the short time you've been here, along with other new folks to the area, including Darren Moody, the police chief. I mean, you guys have really galvanized and pushed the community in a way I think a lot of folks either didn't think could happen in this community, or just kind of everybody's still going through their same day-to-day stuff, and it's tough to bring in something new, but you're able to come in with the new looks and get people to see things in a fresh perspective.
Well, my sense is that we've got great people here in Shelton, and you can't do these things alone. People have jumped in and said, "Hey, let's make it happen." I'm just part of the team here, and Shelton's a great place. And the sky's the limit in terms of what we can do here in Shelton and in our school district. We've got great teachers, great staff, great people in the community, and I'm very excited to be here and honored to be the superintendent of the Shelton schools. I will tell you, we had yesterday afternoon, we had the first staff open forum, and again, the staff, it was a cross-section of staff, and they were very excited to find out ways in which they could continue to support the direction of the school district. Just great people willing to roll up their sleeves and continue the efforts that we've been talking about. We also had a community open forum last night from 7 to 8, and again, we talked about the school district budget. And kind of budget 101, and the people there were very interested, very supportive, but a lot of things happened this week, good things, and we want to continue that.
Dr. Alex Apostle weekly stops by Daybreak here to talk about things going on with the Shelton School District, and we do appreciate it. We do know that you're a very busy guy.
Thank you.
Looking into next week, before we talk with you again, what's on the docket for the next couple of days?
Well, numerous activities, planning various activities to support the overall direction of the school district. And of course, I'll have meeting after meeting next week again, but I'm never bored.
Good.
And I'm excited to continue this great work that we've engaged in.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. He's the school superintendent, and thank you for coming in every week.
Thank you for having me.
It's 8:21 here at iFIBER One. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about new look to the website for Graduation Matters Shelton. We'll provide that address and talk about some other stories that have happened during the last 24 hours or so here on iFIBER One. It's Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Alex Jones and InfoWars. Weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER One News Radio.
And with Google Analytics and with Facebook behind it, they all met the same place Bilderberg met a few years ago. They met there a few years before that. They're north of London. This has all been publicly released and funded the Arab Spring, where they get the students, everybody out the street. But then the radicals use that once they take over to coup d'etat the coup. And then now you have an Islamic State over Libya, over Saudi Arabia, which is already quarterbacking it, over Syria, over Egypt.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Got Kornowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving, baseline, and a two-handed throw down dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson.
From tip-off to the final buzzer.
And throws it down with two hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network. You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio, KMAS.
8:22 on a Friday morning, and a good morning to you. It's Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Already had some great guests on the radio, talking Master Gardeners, talking youth baseball. Dr. Alex Apostle, one of the things that Dr. Alex Apostle brought to the community, along with some other representatives throughout, that we got to see honored during the kickoff pep rally, as Graduation Matters Shelton got a new look website going on.
They do.
What's the address there?
It's Graduation Matters Shelton, all one word.com.
Okay.
So you can get to that website. You can see lots of things. You can
I keep busting in.
figure out what's going to help. And we got somebody in this. What is it? Is that?
Well, we were going to talk passwords, and I think our passwords have been breached here. He found the code. Good morning, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, fellas and girls.
I could be a guy.
Whoever's out here today.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and germs.
Oh, look at your jersey you got on.
He's supporting the Zags even though they lost.
I got the Zags. Yeah, I'm with them. I'm hanging tough.
Well, you got to.
Dang nabbit. Yeah, they lost a tough one to St. Mary's last night, and very unusual for them to not be in first place in the WCC.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened in a while.
I hope they're not getting anything rubbed off from our other teams.
Yeah, so I hope it's not contagious.
Yeah.
My goodness. Heard you guys earlier talking about the new Craft House Pub and Restaurant at the Lucky Eagle in Rochester. I'm going to tell you what, Jerry and I took a tour of that place before it opened. It's incredible. It's fast. It's just awesome. And then you mentioned 20 HD TVs inside the place.
Whoa.
And as they were pointing, they go, that all these booths here, they're going to have TVs, and there's huge TVs up in the ceilings, and the actual motif is right. It's kind of industrial Northwest, spot on. They've got like pillars from the King Dome.
That's what you told us the other day.
Steps all down there, King Dome parking and all this stuff.
That's
and there's
cool.
a lot of metal and woods. And I think people are just going to love hanging there for sporting events, big events, that sort of thing. It's a pretty special place. Do have Jeff Chu coordinating a visit there with his video camera. So we can do a video virtual tour for everybody so they can take a look at it, because a little bit of an investment in the drive there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Great atmosphere. Whole lot of good stuff there.
Everybody
More than 35 beers on tap.
I mean, come on.
Did you get a taste when you were down there?
No, they didn't have those hooked up. They did have all the taps up, though. And so I got to peruse what's going to be there. Don't ask me the names.
I mean,
There's a bajillion.
that's a lot of beers.
And all kind of Northwest craft beers.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Big Dave, Master Gardeners having their deal, and then Elma is having their big wine tasting festival tomorrow.
That's right, Elma Wine Tasting Festival. Another thing that's happening, and Nick Scott had it in his afternoon news, is it happening today or tomorrow? The Sierra Pacific in Aberdeen is holding a hiring event.
Yes. Yeah.
And people can get a little heads up, a foot up on the competition by heading over there. And at least, if anything, you go over there and learn a little bit about
I would
Sierra
recommend
Pacific.
that. Sure. Yeah.
So that's happening in Aberdeen.
So a lot of good things going on.
There are a lot of good things. At Elma Wine Festival, we talked with Debbie earlier in the week, the Chamber of Commerce director there, and it sounds like a lot of fun. And you go there, and Heart by Heart plays, their band Heart, and you close your eyes. I guess it's
Heart.
You know exactly. You're like,
Yeah, so pretty incredible.
Man.
I think that's like from noon until 9 tomorrow for folks looking for something to fill a rainy Saturday afternoon. It won't be too stormy. Nice driving conditions, but stormy enough to not go outside and hang around all the time. So
here in Shelton, you can get tickets to the Elmo Winter Wine Festival at Les Schwab Tires, and in Olympia, the Furniture Company, Olympia Furniture Company, and the West Olympia Les Schwab. That is going to be.
And by the way, Jeff, we do not want Carolina to win this weekend.
I was just wondering.
I do not want Cam Newton to win.
Our own.
Cam Newton grabbed a 12 flag and crashed it, threw it on the ground. We can never forgive him for that, ever.
Okay.
Right, Carol?
I'm going for Arizona. I don't know where he's.
No, I'm just saying. Would you rather see, because we beat Arizona, but we lost to Carolina. We would hate to see Arizona go in there and beat Carolina.
No, I would not.
No, we should be brothers in arms now. He's NFC West. Arizona, let's represent our conference.
All right. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I hope so, because we're going to run you out with tar and feather. If
there it is. That's right.
I'm sure you will.
Anyway, I want to say hi to you guys.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen tomorrow? Is it Peyton's last game? I mean, New England, right? They're going to win.
Hope not.
So you want Denver, Arizona?
I do.
More West Coast.
Because I predicted Denver, Seattle, so I just missed by a little.
Yeah.
And I want Peyton Manning to go out in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And finish his career. I don't want him to come back.
So you're saying that you want someone to take him out in the Super Bowl? Is that what you just said?
No.
I want him to go out and not come back next year.
Yes.
I think he's about done. He's got to be done.
Oh,
You
for
would like
Pete's
to
sakes, he
think
should
so.
be done.
These poor guys, they stay too long.
He's about as old as his dad.
He can sell his paintings from that court on eBay.
Yeah, or he can sell more pizzas.
Let me ask you, this is weird. There's a lot of Brett Favre endorsement commercials lately. Yeah. Was there like a barrier lifted, or did he end a certain
I don't think Brett managed his money well.
No, I don't either. He's fighting himself.
Is he going to have a crowdfunding thing?
He's got like these copper backpacks and razor things.
Real comfortable jeans.
Yeah,
he's doing it all.
Hawking all sorts of stuff. And it just like they all showed up at once.
Yeah. I wanted to say hi to Karen, too.
Oh, she's on the line.
I know.
Hold on.
We got all soupy and emotional.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
How's it going?
Doing okay.
Dale's on the air. Unfortunately, you can't hear what she's...
No.
Oh, hold on.
That's okay.
Well, I'll say bad things.
Oh, there we go. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, a hug through the airwaves.
Okay, hug, yeah.
There you go. Very good. Good to hear
kind of
from you.
depressing Friday, knowing.
And then Wall Street is like rocking and rolling, or is it wobbling like it's been doing?
No, it's rocking today.
Good.
It is. Well, U.S. stocks are advancing on optimism that central banks may expand stimulus measures to counter turmoil in financial markets. In earnings news, General Electric reported fourth quarter results that exceeded expectations, although sales were below consensus estimates, with weakness in renewable energy, oil, and gas. On the economic front, purchases of previously owned U.S. homes rose more than expected in December, helped in part by warmer weather and wrapping up the best year since 2006. U.S. bond prices are lower with strength in equities. So far this morning in the S&P 500, the best performing sector is energy, while the worst performing sector is industrials. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 150 points at 16,033. Standard & Poor's 500 Index is up 31 points at 1,899. And the NASDAQ Composite Index is up 85 points at 4,557. This morning volume on the New York Stock Exchange is high, with about 343 million shares being traded, and advances are outnumbering decliners by a wide margin. In the commodity markets, the spot price of gold is down 49 cents to $1,100.75. The spot price of silver is up 19 cents to $14.28, and crude oil prices are up $1.90 to $31.43. In the bonds market, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently 2.84%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is 2.06%. Stocks of local interest: Amazon is up $19.60, Costco is up $2.02, Boeing is up 55 cents. Starbucks down 89 cents, and Microsoft is up $1.61 today. This is Karen Shade of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. I'm located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton, and if you'd like additional information, you can contact me at 426-4590, and daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com. Have a good weekend, everyone.
listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. A town hall meeting this week packed the conference room at the Mason County Public Works Building, where veterans and homeless advocates discussed housing issues for veterans. With some veterans struggling to live in the county, the Thurston County-based Homes First organization is joining with Mason County to buy housing for homeless veterans. Homes First has 11 homes for adults with development disabilities in Thurston County, 5 Oxford houses, which are democratically run drug-free homes, and a home that houses 5 veterans who were homeless. Homes First wants to bring such veterans housing to Mason County. Bud Blake, Thurston County Commissioner and chairman of that county's housing action team, said Mason and Thurston County will work together to try to solve Mason County's affordable housing problem, and invited the community to join in the effort to solve the housing issue. Central Mason Fire and EMS and Shelton Fire Marshal Mike Patty stopped by Daybreak and gave some statistics about the kind of calls they take.
We run about 85%, 87% medical with our fire district, as does most fire departments in the United States anymore. We've become, the guys don't like to hear it, but we've become more of an emergency medical agency that does an occasional fire.
Yeah.
But that's why we were so lucky to have the citizens allow us to renew our EMS levy last fall, and we've been able to put one new ambulance, rebuilt ambulance, on the road, and we'll be taking delivery of our second one in the next couple of weeks. So that'll give us those vehicles. We put the last one in service first part of October, and our maintenance staff just did their 10,000 mile checkup on it. So we put a lot of miles on those rigs really quick.
During the primary election back in August, the Central Mason Fire and EMS Emergency Medical Services regular property tax levy, a proposition to replace its expiring emergency medical services property, passed with over 70% of residents voting yes. Racer clam diggers are back in action at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are in evening tides. There's a one-day dig at Copalis Beach today. The digs at Long Beach run through next Wednesday. The department is limiting razor clam digging at Copalis to help ensure the beach will have openings throughout the spring. The 8th annual Valentine Dessert and Gift Auction to benefit your United Way of Mason County is set for February 12th at the Shelton Civic Center. Tickets can be purchased online at unitedwaymasonco.org or by calling 360-426-4999 or stop by the United Way office at 724 West Railroad Avenue. The major fundraiser for United Way of Mason County helps meet the most critical needs in the county, from youth to seniors, domestic violence to hunger, hospice care to daycare. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Marilyn Foster.
We have some extreme temperatures in our part of the country. I want to tell you about a local company, Arch Mechanical. ARCH, Arch. It's an acronym for Affordable Refrigeration, Cooling, and Heating. But that's not what's important. What's important is how Tom, the problem solver, is able to help solve your heating, cooling, and refrigeration equipment or system problems. Check out archmechanical.com and find out more. archmechanical.com.
Spurs and Cavs win. Kobe's seeing stars. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. With much of the attention in the NBA focused on Golden State, the Spurs are quietly enjoying what could be a special season. Another win last night over the Suns.
Anderson now hands it off to Simmons. Going to take it inside. All the way in. Slam. Dunk with a right hand. A hammer slam for Jonathan Simmons.
On WOAI, San Antonio 117-89 in Phoenix. It's the Spurs' 12th straight. Since Monday's 34-point spanking at the hands of the Warriors, the Cavaliers have won back-to-back games.
Irving bounces to Love, left wing side. He'll kick to J.R. Smith into LeBron James. Fouled by Stevenson, up and in it goes. LeBron James.
On WTAM, James with a double-double. Cleveland 115-102 over the Clippers. Rajon Rondo racked up the numbers for the Kings last night.
Hands it off to Rondo. Drives to the rack. Scores! Rondo has the triple-double as he gets the bucket. The 5th triple-double this year for Rajon Rondo.
On KHTK, Sacramento got past Atlanta 91-88 in the Kings' 4th consecutive win. Fans made it clear they want Kobe Bryant in the NBA All-Star Game. Bryant received a league-high 1.9 million votes. He'll be a starter in his 18th and final Stars game. ESPN NBA analyst Kevin Pelton on how many minutes he expects Kobe to play.
Probably see him at the start of each half for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then maybe if it's close down the stretch, he comes in and tries to finish off one last All-Star game for him.
The game is on February 14th in Toronto. In the NHL, the Blackhawks' 12-game winning streak is over.
Top of the right circle, Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov shoots, score! Top shelf!
On WFLA, the Lightning won their 7th in a row, defeating Chicago 2-1. Australian Open defending and 6-time champion Serena Williams is into the 4th round along with Roger Federer, who became the first player to reach 300 Grand Slam victories. And Maria Sharapova is also into the 4th. Bill Johnson, who won the downhill at the 1984 Winter Games in Sarajevo, has died. He was 55. He was the first American male to win Olympic gold in alpine skiing. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Yeah, hey, Art, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
I got a quick story. I was in California, and I was basically babysitting my mom's apartment. She had taken a week vacation to Las Vegas, and I was laying on the couch watching TV, and she had a big mirror on the mantle above the fireplace, and I had the sliding glass door shut. You know, there was no wind, and the mirror, like, flew off about 3 or 4 feet, and it scared the heck out of me.
Midnight in the Desert, live from 9 to midnight on iFIBER ONE News Radio. Well, good morning to you. Jeff Slickey here with Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio. We're looking at sports now, and Carol's here with the weather forecast in just a moment. Good morning.
Good morning.
Senior night at the Mini Dome. High climbers didn't disappoint, knocking off Capital 73-3. Win moves Shelton to 6-0 in conference play and a tie for first with Lincoln atop the Narrows Conference. Be sure to check out the website later today. Sports director Sean Wells will have full video highlights of the match, including interviews with senior wrestler Fred Horn and Shelton head coach Chris Lacey. On a game heard on the radio last night, Evan Fitzner scored 20 and St. Mary's survived a late mental error to beat Gonzaga 70-67 for sole possession of first place in the West Coast Conference. Let's see, our next Gonzaga basketball game is tomorrow, pregame at 12:40 as the team takes on Pacific. Also in Northwest sports, the Seattle Sounders have signed homegrown star Jordan Morris. We talked about it yesterday. He's from Mercer Island. He's big time. He's a big-time player. He won the Herman Trophy. It's like the Heisman Trophy for high school or college football. The Herman Trophy is for college. And he helped lead Stanford to its first national title. What did we talk about yesterday? It was 4-0 against Clemson. Morris skipped his senior year with the Cardinal for a chance to turn pro. Tonight on iFiber1newsradio.com, a high-def high school basketball broadcast of Shelton boys taking on Central Kitsap from the Mini Dome. And the halftime performance will be by the dance team. I mentioned Gonzaga against Pacific Saturday, and then Sunday, the NFL Championship Series. First game, Denver, New England, and then Arizona, Carolina. We get everything underway Sunday at 11 o'clock. 8:39 now, and here's Carol with a check of the forecast.
Good morning. It's 50. Steady rain early, turning into showers later with a chance of thunder. High today is 51. Saturday, rain showers early, then cloudy most of the rest of the day. And then Sunday, we're going to have partly cloudy, some sunshine in the morning, and then it's just going to be cloudy again the rest of the day. The daytime temps over the weekend are going to stay in the high 40s, and right now it's 50.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is a Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, 840. Carol and I will get to our passwords conversation in a second. It took so long because I had to go change all my passwords. Apparently, I've got the worst passwords ever. Washington residents will no longer be able to use their state standard issue driver's licenses as ID to get onto military bases. This is just coming from the Associated Press less than an hour ago. The Department of Defense said yesterday that military installations will no longer accept driver's licenses from here, Washington, also Minnesota, Illinois, Missouri, and New Mexico as proper proof of identity. Officials said people may be allowed entry with another form of ID, such as a passport. Cards authorized in Defense Department policy are not affected. Washington State already offers, but here's the distinction, it does not mandate these enhanced driver's licenses and IDs that require proof of U.S. citizenship and are valid under the Real ID Act passed by Congress in 2005. These are some minimum set standard after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. So this is an interesting story, especially for the civilians that have to go on base, you know?
Right.
They may have to get all new enhanced IDs. So we'll monitor that one for you for sure. You've got another story about the movie theater shooting.
Right. The woman that was shot last night at a theater up in Renton's condition was upgraded from critical to serious, and she's expected to recover. So police have arrested a man who told authorities he accidentally shot and injured a woman in the Washington State movie theater. They were called last night to Regal Cinemas at the Landing in Renton after a man appearing to be intoxicated fumbled with a gun and shot the woman during a showing of 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. So investigators didn't believe the man and the woman knew each other. That's about all the details we have right now. It's sort of a strange story. Somebody just happened to be carrying his gun around and it went off.
Well, one, being intoxicated at the movie theater,
Yeah.
They don't sell, maybe they sell booze at that Regal Cinemas.
Well, you could walk in and...
Do you have any stories you'd like to share about that?
No, what I mean is he could have been
I get it.
and gotten drunker, brought drunk alcohol in with him. I don't know. It's hard to say.
You can definitely carry things into movie theaters.
Yes. And when they say
Saying that I have,
intoxicated, was it from alcohol or was it from other types of drugs? They don't actually say those details. But the fact is that he had one in a movie theater, was fumbling with it, and it goes off. I mean, was he...
Maybe he was getting into the movie.
Well...
That's that whole movie, right?
Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. I don't know. This is a sad story, but the woman is expected to recover.
And that's why we do that. An employee at the Hanford Fire Station has tested positive for very low levels of internal radioactive contamination. Tri-City Herald's reporting this morning that the Department of Energy and officials there say an employee was exposed after breathing equipment used at the nuclear reservation's plutonium finishing plant was sent to the station for storage. More than 100 of the Hanford Fire Department's 150 workers have requested tests of their body to see if they also may have been exposed. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. All right, 8:43. Take a quick break and hear from Steve Kramer for a fishing report and Chuck Devine for a ski report here on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
There's no place like home.
Information at your fingertips.
I'm JohnLScott.com.
Contact your John L. Scott Real Estate Specialist. We're here to help.
Welcome home. Hi, I'm Dawn Pinnell from John L. Scott Real Estate in Shelton, where we're all about helping you buy or sell your house so you can say, I'm home. Since this is the last show of the year, I thought I would share some statistics with you. I'm not really a big statistics person, but I thought some of these were interesting. First, let's talk about an area market survey for active and sold listings. As of the first part of December, the active listings in Mason County had an average price of $231,839, and they had a median price of $189,500. That runs the gamut all the way from 0 to $999,000. And there are 22 active listings on the market for that price.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing report. With all the rain and flooding we're having right now, river fishing is pretty much out of the picture. So it looks like for this upcoming week, your best bet's going to be probably going clam digging. There are evening digs scheduled from the 21st through the 27th at Long Beach. If you go, I would bring a surf rod and see if you could catch some of those yummy surf perch. I like to throw a clam neck or a sand shrimp for bait personally. Just be very careful of the surf. Another fun option for the weekend would be go spend some time duck hunting. If it stays stormy like this, I expect shooting to be good. I would concentrate my efforts on Willapa Bay, Grays Harbor, or up the Chehalis River Valley, all of which could be good. So if you can, please take a kid fishing and make sure you check out the recreations page at kmas.com And don't forget my site, KramerTackleandGuide.com. This has been Steve Kramer. Thanks for listening and good fishing.
Time now for your KMAS ski report, and there's more fresh snow taking us into the weekend. Should be a great weekend to hit the slopes at Summit at Snoqualmie Alpental. They have powder skiing on 20 trails. They're skiing and riding till 10 at night. Summit West and Summit Central 100% with an 8-foot snowpack. Summit East returns Saturday. Crystal Mountain with another 10 inches of fresh snow, a wet pack snow surface. Mission Ridge got 10 inches. They're 100% with 50-pack powder trails, lots of groom runs, plenty of powder stashes, too. A snowshoe trek for Mission Ridge Saturday night, and there's live music Saturday night at Mission Ridge. Stevens Pass went into the weekend with a foot of fresh snow. Milder temperatures are moving in for the weekend. Mount Baker was back Friday, and they had fresh, untouched snow. Mount Bachelor and Mount Hood Meadows are both 100% in Oregon. Schweitzer, Idaho picked up 4 inches fresh. They have wet pack snow on 92 trails. Sun Valley, Idaho, 113 pack powder slopes. I'm Chuck Devine for KMAS News Radio, AM 1030, FM 103.3.
This is Steve Kramer from Kramer Tackle with this week's fishing.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, iFIBER One News Radio. It's 8:47. We'll hear from the old farmer in a few moments, and ABC News at 9. Tom Hartman after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not only the passcode to get in and suck all the air out of Planet Vespa from Spaceballs, not only is it President Scroob's luggage password, but it apparently is one of the most used passwords that people are putting on their computers. And so we hear about this every day. There's these identity thefts, hackers are running wild, and this security firm Splash Data has noted that millions of people still utilize these passwords that are laughable, apparently.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jeff.
Please.
How many times have you used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And I'm like changing it on you, and then you're like, this password's so hard to remember.
There are passwords that I use that are that simple, not that, for daily traffic, daily web traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And those are probably the ones that I want to make sure are the most secure, I'd imagine.
I would imagine.
The ones that I go to every day and put passwords into.
And using the same password for multiple accounts is a big no-no.
Oh, it's a big no-no.
Yeah. It's hard, though. There's too many.
We got other stuff in our lives to deal with than having to remember the password.
Well, how many passwords do you think you have off the top of your head?
How many password sites, or how many passwords do I rotate in between?
No, how many places do you have to put a password in that you have?
Oh, probably at least 50 a day.
50 a day?
I don't know, 50 sites.
Well, there's probably, all your banks.
Yeah.
You have passwords, and any kind of health insurance type stuff, you have passwords.
You gotta have passwords for that.
Any kind of, if you do any shopping online, you have a password for every different account. It's just, and then it's just crazy.
So then if I say 50 sites, now ask me how many passwords I rotate.
Well, would you like to tell the world that information?
5. I think there's 5.
Easy to crack.
Well, you got to know a little bit about me.
All somebody has to do is listen to the radio station, and they know everything about you.
I don't say the passwords on the radio.
It doesn't matter. That's how they actually find out about passwords.
I know that is.
Yeah.
They go to your Facebook pages and they see, there's those 3. Okay, so there are the 3 or 4 standard extra security questions that places ask you.
Right.
Who was your best friend?
Mm-hmm.
What's your mother's maiden name? What street did you grow up on? There is a wonderful movie called Now You See Me.
Mm-hmm.
With Woody Harrelson and that Lex Luthor kid who was also Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook, and the Hulk is in it too. So is Morgan Freeman. Anyways, it's an awesome movie. And so there's this scene where it's a pretty innocuous scene where they're talking about trying to guess what your childhood was like.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I bet your mom's brother was a real piece of work or something. And by finding out the mom's brother's name, that's actually the mother's maiden name. or asking about the pet they played with. You look like a cat person. It's like, no, I had a dog as a little Buster as a boy, little dog Buster.
Right.
And so there you got that path. So people go on these Facebooks.
Yeah.
If you don't have a privacy profile set correctly, they can easily find.
Oh, yeah.
And there's all these quizzes, too, that offer up the same sort of information. Where you grew up. Take the first letter of the street you grew up on. And the last letter of the dog you first had, and that's your pirate name or something. You ever seen those websites?
Oh, yeah. But, it's not just that. It's also your trackability on the web, wherever you're going, where your location is. I mean, if somebody wants to find out this information, they can use it. If they really want to get into your password, they can use it to get into your account or whatever.
So they say the longer the password, the better. But that does not mean adding a 6 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, man. How about a 0?
Although
is there such a thing?
If you go 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It might be better.
That could be a very more powerful password. Second place. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've got this full list on our Facebook page this morning, is the number one often used password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you have to have a minimum of 6 characters.
Right.
You got to throw a number in there. And then people still use password as the password.
Which is, they probably just don't change their ever.
The password, yes. Some people go as far as going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right. And then there's QWERTY.
QWERTY, which is just the first 5 letters of your standard keyboard.
Right.
People are throwing these passwords out there all the time, and at some level, I'm a little wondering, and help me out here on this one.
All right.
Why do I have to care so much about these? Because the big boys, Home Depot, Walgreens, Visa, they're getting hacked regardless.
Right.
So regardless of what my password is, it doesn't even seem like I have full control anyways.
Well,
Or is that just being...
I think you just give people more ammunition. Or it's like, do you leave your cell phone out in the open if you're going to leave it in the car? Not that you would, but would you leave it out for everybody to notice?
No. Well, you don't make it easy.
Right. So that's the same thing as password protection. You make it is a little more difficult, so then they're just like, and then they go on to the next one. That does leave their cell phone available or their password easily available. Does that make sense?
So when you, without telling us any of your passwords, do you have a certain formula that you use? And if you did, would you like to share that? Share the formula at least.
I use phrases. And then I break up the phrases with numbers, which a number sounds like a letter to me, which may not to somebody else. And then I throw in a symbol somewhere in it.
Interesting.
And I do make them long and, ridiculous. But and you're not supposed to, but you can change a few of the same, characters inside one of the passwords to so when you go to Verizon or you go to your cable company, you have to sign in to all those places. So you would use a similar password, but mix up the characters slightly or add or change the characters.
Well, that would just make me so confused. I would just forget these all the time. Okay. And that's why I don't change them very often.
Right.
That's probably why everybody doesn't change them.
Right. Well, it's a hard. So pretty soon, retinal scans, thumbprints on your computer at home.
Stephanie's laptop has a thumbprint scanner. It works fine.
You could just use that for your passwords. Just don't let somebody get your hand.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
WeatherLore says the coldest weeks of the year are upon us. Does the science agree? We investigate today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Friday, January 22nd, the 22nd day of the year. R&B vocalist Sam Cooke was born on this day, and this night in 1968, NBC socked it to us with a premiere of Laugh-In. We often repeat that age-old winter proverb, as the days lengthen, the cold strengthens. Does it hold up to rigorous scientific scrutiny? For the eastern half of the U.S., the answer is a definite yes. The season's coldest temperatures occur on average right about now, a month after winter solstice. But areas west of the Central Plains experience their coldest weeks in December, sometimes even before the solstice. It's all because of the influence of Pacific Ocean air, of course, and it goes to show that weather lore is always subject to the regional climate where it was cultivated. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
I'll put the wraps up on this show here. Friday, it's the 22nd of January. Check out the website later today for Sean Wells' recap of the wrestling match last night. Big win by the High Climbers. Very cool. Coming up next week on the show, Lynn Longan at 8:45 or Monday. And Dan Griffey will be by at Tuesday. Toby Kevin will be by as well on Tuesday. Haven't talked with him in a little bit. Drew McEwen on Wednesday, 35th District Representative. Brad Patterson for his weekly transit talk and port of call. Mike Wittenberg. You know, it's almost tax time. I guess it is tax time. People are starting to fill out their stuff. So Mike Wittenberg, CPA, is going to be in next week.
Give us some tips and motivation.
All these, there's always changes every year, and these guys are the ones that they're up on it.
Yeah, well, they get paid to do it. They get paid to read all that.
You read that
mumbo jumbo.
Give me this. Give me the highlights. None of the lowlights.
Exactly.
Sean will be checking in with us on some sports reports next week, and then Friday again as today, Dr. Alex Apostle. We started the day off this morning, Carol, and I was so excited because somebody had found a new trench in the loch, home of Nessie. And this guy says this Nessie could fit perfectly in this little thing. We only thought that the bottom of the loch was 800 feet. My depth finder here says 900 feet. What's the deal? There's a bump in there. And now when I go back and look, the bump's gone. So once again, another example of us assuming something and then shattered.
Exactly.
You got another one of these.
Well, it just came out on Popular Science. The human brain could store 10 times more memories than previously thought. So, if you're worried about trying to figure out your passwords, you could actually do it.
So I used to be under the idea that your brain is you only use 10% of your brain.
Yeah, that's just somehow that just came about. We actually use all of our brain. It's just that it's how well you use it. Is the question. But mainly my thing is we create all these rules on how we think things are, and the earth is flat. Oh, okay, it's round. I mean, we've always done that.
That's coming back.
The earth is flat?
Flat earthers. It's making a comeback. It's true.
No, it's not.
It is. Flat
They think the earth is flat.
There's a segment of the population, and it's regaining some steam on certain parts of the internet.
I sure hope, though. Never mind. I won't say a word. Sad. But
isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is amazing. But I mean, I just think it's so funny that when somebody says, oh, there's only 5 of these, or there's 7 of these, and then 2 years later you find out there's like 20 of these. It's like the DNA thing, and then all the gut DNA is now completely different. So it's fascinating to me. I love finding out new things, and I don't ever think you should set a rule or a limit, because we don't know what we don't know.
Check out Alan Taylor this weekend for Popular Science Radio here on iFIBER One News Radio, Sundays at 4 a.m. and then again at 11 a.m. online, because 11 is when we're going to start our Championship Series football coverage. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. It is Daybreak, and we'll be back on Monday.
Happy Friday.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Alex Jones and InfoWars on from 6 to 9 weekdays on iFIBER One News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAS Shelton.